Good evening, everybody. Very happy to welcome Sri Narasimha. Who is an expert on easy Homa. He has been teaching this easy Homa for many years now, almost 2 decades. So we are extremely fortunate that he is visiting us. So my name is Hari from the Ramakrishna Vedanta Ashrama of Pittsburgh. We are located just across the road from this building. And it's a auspicious start for our New Year activity. So for the next 3 hours,
Namaste, all of you. Best wishes for Kalpataru celebration. Kalpataru Day was when Ramakrishna Paramahansa went into a great state where basically everybody who came in touch with him experienced great bliss. He was in such bliss, such unbelievable state of samadhi that everybody who touched him experienced the same thing. So that day is celebrated as Kalpataru Day, and we are honoring the Kalpataru Day today with this Homa workshop. Thank you very much for to all of you for braving the weather and coming for this Homa workshop. And we'll try our best to make the next 3 hours enjoyable to you. This workshop is going to have 3 parts. The first hour will be a presentation by me, and the second hour I will do a demo. I'll do a Homa, and in the third hour you will be doing a Homa by yourself. We'll stick to a simple Ganpati Homa. Even though there are manuals for Homa to 32 different Devatas, it is better to start with Ganpati. But in the demo Homa that I do in the second hour, I will cover various Devatas so that you can basically experience different Devatas. And I will use simple mantras that all of you can chant along. Even if you don't know it, after a couple of times, you will get a hang of it. So I want everybody to chant loud in the second half. And in the third half, the Homa that you do, there'll be 3 Homas. The first one will be a pretend Homa, where I'll be chanting and you will have the handouts with you. You will follow what I am chanting. You will also chant and you will pretend to do a Homa. You are not doing a real Homa, no real fire, no real materials, so that you get a hang of the procedure, the flow and the mantras. In the second Homa that you do, it will be a real Homa, but a coordinated Homa, a guided Homa. So again, I'll be chanting and instructing, and you will follow the instructions and you will do a Homa. This time a real Homa with real fire. But because I'm guiding you, it will be a little easier. The third one, by this time, the first one's purpose is to give you an idea of the flow and the mantras. Second one is so that you get used to managing the fire, managing the materials. And the third one, you are on your own. Basically, you chant by yourself silently and you do a Homa. So first Homa will be very quick, 5 minutes or so. Second and third one will take, depending on how long we go, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, like that. So that is basically the agenda for today. So now the presentation part. I will explain the importance of Agni and importance of Homa and Havan, not only in Sanatana Dharma, but across various cultures and religions. And I will briefly talk about our own Homa movement, for those of you who are not aware of it. And then I will take a simple procedure, which we will actually do later on, and I will explain the steps and the meaning of those steps, what we are doing, what we are trying to, what you should visualize when you're doing those steps. So I will explain the procedure and the meaning of it, and then I'll try to address a lot of common questions and give some practical hints so that when you're doing at home, it will be easier for you. Homa is one of Panchamahayajnas. There are scriptures, Hindu scriptures define Panchamahayajnas, 5 great sacrifices. That's the literal meaning. And you can look at the slides here. To pay off the debts that we incur as we continue to live in this world, we are constantly accumulating more and more debts with every action of ours. So to pay off those debts, there are 5 prescribed daily duties. And Homa or Havan is one of those Panchamahayajnas. And this is the list of Nitya Karmas that are described, the basic Nitya Karmas that every human being is supposed to do on a daily basis, according to scriptures, multiple scriptures, not just one scripture. And these are based on the runas that we incur as we live in this world. So the runa, the first runa we have is to the Supreme Being. Without the Supreme Being, Brahman, we won't be here basically. So for that, to pay off that runa, Brahma Yajna is recommended, which is studying scriptures and teaching scriptures to others. And the second runa is Devas, various divine beings, we are indebted to them. See, for example, when I am speaking, my intellect is coming up with some thoughts, and that is Jupiter who is doing the job. Brahaspati in the skies, he is also present in me as my Dhisakti. He is thinking. When I'm coming up with a word, it is Buddha who's in the skies. He's basically doing the speech. I'm thinking that I'm thinking and I'm speaking, but it is just my ahankar. In the end, we all think that we are doing a lot of things, experiencing a lot of things, but it is not, except the ahankar, there's nothing. Everything else is various other beings who are doing the job. They are the agents, and we are just identifying with that. So to pay off the debt that our ahankar is incurring to all those various beings, we have to basically do a Deva Yajna. Deva Yajna is defined in the scriptures as Homa to the Devatas. And the third debt we have is to Pitris, deceased beings, not just our ancestors, but any deceased being, any person any being, not even person, any being that passed away, that we have a rana to, that impacted our life in some way. So for that, the prescribed yajna is Pitri Yajna, which is basically Tarpana, water oblation ritual. And the fourth one is all other living human beings around us. We are indebted to them because the whole world is connected. So for that, Manushya Yajna is prescribed by the Shastras, and it is defined as Atithi Satkar, basically serving your guest with respect. And guest doesn't mean people who come to your house. It may be people who visit your Facebook profile, people who you interact with on the road. Basically, any interactions with other human beings, you basically use dignity, honor, and basically treat them with respect. So that is Manushya Yajna. And final one is Bhuta Yajna. Apart from human beings around us, there are various animals and birds that do impact us in many ways. For example, without bees, we wouldn't be able to eat food. They pollinate all the crops. So we are, without knowing, we are indebted to entire so many animals and birds around us. We can't serve all of them, but the prescribed ritual is Bhuta Yajna, which is basically feeding, defined in the scriptures as feeding animals and birds. Out of these, studying scriptures and teaching scriptures, feeding animals and birds, and treating other human beings with dignity and respect, these are not considered as rituals. These are just things that you do on a regular basis. Whereas Homa and Tarpana are classified as rituals. So these two rituals are very important rituals. If you do them on a regular basis, you will be clean basically. Your slate will be clean. That will enable you to make more progress in all of your material and spiritual activities. Agni, fire, is very important in Hindu scriptures. It is said to be the doorway to the divine. Shastras say Agni Mukhavai Deva, which means fire is the doorway to the divine, to experience the divine, to understand the divine, to perceive the divine. Fire is the doorway. And it is not just in Hindu culture that fire is worshipped, but fire is worshipped in many ancient cultures. Even in US, I know some Native Americans who basically, I know one lady, even today, see, in the old days, people used to do fire ritual regularly. Now, pretty much everybody stopped, just like in India. But I know one lady, Native American lady, without doing a 10-minute ritual to a goddess called Nyaya, she will never leave the house, even now. So this is basically, it existed in North America. It existed in Central America. Mayans engaged in fire rituals, and Incas in South America engaged in fire rituals. Aboriginals of Australia, New Zealand, they engaged in fire ritual. And before Christianity, even various pagan religions that existed across Europe and Africa, they worship fire. So fire worship, and this notion that fire is the doorway to the divine. If you connect with fire, you can make connection with something that's beyond this material world. The various divine beings is something that is well known across cultures. And also, if you look at Rig Veda, the first word is Agni. Agnimile Purohitam. So Agni is the first guru and first priest of Veda. The company of Agni is very purifying and transformational. One of the names of Agni in the scriptures is Pavakaha. Pavaka means, literally, it means the one who purifies. So Agni is the one who purifies you. If you sit in front of fire, even if you don't do a ritual, just sit in front of a bright fire with a sense of sacredness, close your eyes and meditate. You will see that your meditation is accentuated. It is more, you will have more clarity. You'll feel that you are making some connection with something beyond you when you are in the company of fire. That is the power of fire. And that is something that every culture realized. And some of you may know that when Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Thakur had cancer, Swami Vivekananda came and stayed with him for a while. And during that time, he used to, around 11:30 or midnight, he used to go and put some firewood on fire, and he used to sit in front of that bright fire. And as that fire went on for a few hours, he would meditate till 4 or 5 in the morning, and then he will go and sleep for a few hours, and then go on and care for Thakur. So the thing is, he didn't do any ritual, he didn't offer anything. But the thing is, the very fact that you have a bright fire in front of you when you are meditating will make it easier to overcome your limitations and make a connection with something that is beyond the material world. One more point I want to make is, there is a connection between our soul and the sun in the skies and the fire that is in front of us. They are all, sun is basically a big ball of fire. And the soul, according to Shastras, is a spark of fire in the cave of heart. Don't think of it as a physical fire. We are not talking about material things here. We are talking about something beyond material. We have a Sukshma Sarira, Sthula Sarira, Karana Sarira. Sthula Sarira is the gross body. Sukshma Sarira is the mind, notions, etc. Karana Sarira is basically the causation for this all these experiences, and it is at that level of Karana Sarira. So it's not physical, but it is of the nature of fire. So soul is of the nature of fire, sun is of the nature of fire, and because of that, if you worship fire, if you are in front of fire, if you are in the company of fire, there is resonance. Likewise, objects that are alike will resonate with each other. So the fire will basically strengthen the soul and strengthen the sun. And there is something very similar between soul and sun. Both are important for dharma and maintaining order. See, look at sun. He supports the life in the solar system, entire solar system. And basically, dharma just means order, a balanced order, a natural order. So sun is the one who's maintaining order in the solar system, and he gets nothing out of it. It's just a selfless act. Similarly, soul, it is maintaining order. It is supporting life in our entire organism. Everything that we identify with is supported by the soul, and soul gets nothing out of it. Soul is just doing it out selflessly. So there is something important about soul and sun when it comes to maintaining order, maintaining dharma. And in the old days, in the world, especially in India, so many people were worshipping fire on a regular basis. And that would, as per the Shastra, that feeds sun. In other words, this resonates, and basically dharma in the world will be higher as a result of it. And also individuals, basically they can operate in a more dharmic way when they are spending time with dharma. And that has decreased in the last few decades. And time has come for it to basically be revived. So if you spend time with fire, because of the resonance, company of Agni will promote clarity and spiritual awakening. And it also promotes dharma, it strengthens sun, and it promotes dharma in the entire world, basically. So it is good for you. You can make spiritual progress, and you can contribute to collective dharma across the world. And if you want to understand the importance of Homa and Agni more, you can go to my website, vedicastrologer.org. There's a lot of, if you click on Homa at the top in the menu, you'll find a lot of materials. There are a lot of quotes from various scriptures you can read. But the thing is, this is basically at a high level. Fire is very important. It is a prescribed duty. And for the last couple of decades, we are basically trying to enable anybody who's interested in making individual spiritual progress and contribute to increase of dharma in the world. We are committed to enabling them to do a very simple Homa and Basically, any puja that you do, you already do. You may be doing Hanuman Chalisa, or Vishnu Sahasranama Stotram, Lalita Sahasranama Stotram, or Durga Saptashloki. Whatever you are doing, any puja you are already doing can be converted to a Homa with very little overhead. And we published these manuals online in 2006, and there are simple manuals for Homa to 32 different devatas. And we don't have any organization or any particular entity, but this is organically growing. Just there is a website with manuals, and I know that at this time at least tens of thousands of people across the world are doing Homa on a regular basis, either weekly, every weekend, or every day, using these manuals. And one small point I want to make, when it comes to doing a simple Homa versus a lot of complications, I like telling a story that some of you may have already heard. There was a guru. He used to do a Homa on a daily basis. And he had a Sishya. He was observing the guru and he learned the procedure from the guru. And the guru had a cat. If the cat jumps around, it's a fire hazard. So he used to tie the cat in a particular corner before he sat for Homa. And a few years later, the guru passed away. And the Sishya wanted to keep up the tradition. He observed Guru and learnt everything. He knew all the mantras, he knew all the procedures, but he had no cat. So he went to the market, bought a cat, and started tying it in a corner to do the Homa. So like that, if you look at the basic Shastras, how they define Homa is making offerings in the fire, intending them to reach gods. That's the definition. And various rules and various steps, they kept on increasing with time. So in today's rituals, not just Homa, but many rituals, there are a lot of cats like that, figuratively speaking, though of course, not physically. Figuratively speaking, there are a lot of cats. So basically, the purpose of our movement is to simplify to the crux so that you can do easily, and you can't give the excuse that I can't do this. This is too complicated, because this is supposed to be a daily duty. So it shouldn't be too complicated. This is like brushing your teeth. You can't say, oh, brushing my teeth is too complicated, I won't do. So this is supposed to be like that. So that is basically the main purpose of our movement. And this movement is enabled and shaped by 3 different Guru Paramparas. I'll briefly mention them and we'll go into the procedure next. The first parampara is obviously our own parampara. This is my Guru, Dr. Manish Pandit. He is a nuclear physicist in UK. He lives in Birmingham. And his Guru, he is Sri Nakhate Maharaj from Pune. And his Guru is Sri Golwani Maharaj. And he had 2 Gurus, Loknath Tirtha Maharaj. He's a Sakta Guru from Himalayas. And then this is Vasudevananda Saraswati Tembe Swami Maharaj. We consider him to be our Paramaguru of our Parampara. He is considered a Dattatreya Avatara. He is from Maharashtra. He is considered one of the avatars of Dattatreya. He is also known as Tembe Swami in Maharashtra. He did a daily Homa and daily Tarpana. The 2 rituals that I mentioned in the beginning as Nityakarma, he used to do them till his last day. On his last day, when he was trying to do Tarpana, his hand was shaking and he was not able to hold the water. He basically tried 3 times and said, Ishwarecha, and then basically that's when he stopped. He was doing these rituals on a daily basis. And also he ate only food that was offered in Agni to Homa, offered in Homa to Agnideva. Only that food he ate. He did not eat any other food. So this is one parampara. This is basically from Dattatreya. And the other parampara which had a big influence is the gentleman on the left is somebody very close to my heart, Swami Sasham, his name. He is the head priest of a Kalikambal temple, a Kali temple in Chennai. It is known as Dakshineshwar of South India, and this is a very ancient temple, and this is a temple where Chhatrapati Shivaji was explicitly ordered by Samarth Ramadas, his Guru Samarth Ramadas, an avatar of Hanuman, to go and worship Devi worship Kali before a major battle. So he went in, I forgot the exact year, but 1600 some year. So he is behind. He's like the pillar behind our movement. Just to narrate a small story, we did a Shatachandi Homa in 2006 with a very specific Sankalpa. Something was happening in India. So with a specific Sankalpa, we did a Shatachandi Homa. I and Dr. Manish Pandit, my Guru, went there. And Anna, we call him Anna, Swami Sasham arranged it. He organized the Homa. And during the event, it takes 7 days. During those 7 days, Devi gave a darshan to my guru, and she gave a command. Homa, there are very few people who are doing Homa on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And those priests who do, basically most of the time, it is for a particular client, for a particular purpose. It is not as a selfless offering to God, as a daily duty. So if more people do, dharma will increase in the world, and time has come for it. So simplify Homa and enable anyone who is interested in spiritual progress and helping dharma in the world, enable them to do Homa. So start this process. So he was given darshan by Devi, and though Manish did not reveal it to anybody for 1 year, Swami Sadasivam, he basically gifted various texts on different styles of Homa, basically various Homa Vidhanas, various Padhatis. He gifted various books and various materials needed for Homa, Homa Kunda, Siruk. He gifted all of those to Manish and me. And later on, when the manuals came together, he basically helped us with the manuals and also to spread the word. He travels across the world. Wherever he goes, he tells people and he gifts free homakundas to people. So he's a Sivacharya, a traditional Sivacharya from a Sivacharya parampara in Tamil Nadu. And his father, Sri Samamurthy Sivacharya, is a celebrated Sivacharya who trained many Saiva priests in Tamil Nadu, in most of South India actually. So he's a Sivacharya. So at a Kali temple. So this is the other enabling influence. The third one is, I don't know how many of you read the Aghora trilogy by Dr. Robert Svoboda, a very great author of, scholar of Ayurveda, Tantra, Yoga, Jyotisha, etc. Dr. Robert Svoboda's guru is Sri Vimalananda, Aghori Vimalananda. His photo is not publicly available. This is a portrait drawn by an Ayurvedic doctor, a famous Ayurvedic doctor called Vasant Lad. So Aghori Vimalananda had a darshan of Ma Tara at the age of 20, and then basically his life was taken over by Tara. And he ensured that his life story would come out only after he died. So Dr. Robert Svoboda wrote Aghora series after Vimalananda left the world. And in the books, there is a mention of Junior Guru Maharaj, who was basically, that is the word they use, they don't reveal the name. He is the guru of Vimalananda, and that is this gentleman. He is Rama Vishwambhardas, also known as Gayatri Baba or Jatala Sadhu. He lived for more than 400 years at least. That is basically the record that he suddenly appeared, and after appearing, he lived for 400 years. So he last few decades of his life he spent at Simhachalam, Narasimha temple, and he used to do a Homa to Gayatri Mata every day. So he was a Gayatri worshipper. That's why he's known as Gayatri Baba, also Jatal Sadhu. And we had the fortune of being associated with this parampara also. Dr. Robert Svoboda directly gave a lot of insights, and Jatal Sadhu and Vimalananda appeared in visions to Manish and gave some guidance. And also, if you read the Aghora series book, Vimalananda says, "My children will come and spread Homa across the world in coming decades," he mentions. And for all you know, we could be those children. So these are the three enabling influences. These are the three paramparas: Sakta, Shaiva, and Dattatreya paramparas. Before I go to the procedure, just a few pictures. We've been doing Homa workshops in various places in the last few years. So this is Washington DC workshop, May 2022. You can see Swami Sadasivam here behind me meditating. This is Swami Sadasivam, the head priest of Kali temple that I mentioned. So this was at DC, and this was a Homa at Hyderabad. This is actually a temple dedicated to Jatal Sadhu. If you ever go to Hyderabad, in Miapur, there's a very small temple. Nobody really knows about it or goes there. It is dedicated to Jatal Sadhu, who I mentioned earlier, who lived for 400 years, and the Gayatri Baba. So it is his temple. So this was a Homa done there in 2022. And this was a workshop done in Hyderabad in December 2023, where about 600 to 700 people participated, and Homas were done in 300 Homakundas. And this was Albuquerque workshop done a few months back in New Mexico. By the way, New Mexico has amazing spiritual energy. If you ever get a chance to visit it, it's one of the best places in the US. And then this was at Ashvidya Gurukulam in the same state in Pennsylvania, at Salisbury. This was again a few months back in June 2024. And this was in Memphis. There is a S3 Goshala. If you ever visit Memphis, visit their Goshala. They have 250 Indian cows. And they also sell ghee basically. So if you go to their website, search for S3 Gosala, you can buy authentic ghee there from Gir cows. So this was a Homa workshop done at the S3 Gosala in Memphis. And this was the first workshop we did in May 2022 in Washington, D.C. So this is a picture from there. Now we'll go into the procedure. I'll explain as I said, there are a lot of figurative cats in various rituals, but if you boil it down to the crux, what is really the most important part of the ritual? This is basically the Homa procedure can be broken down into initial portions, which are basically pre-fire portions. Before you start the fire, there are certain things you do, and then some initial offerings in the fire after you start the fire. And then you call the Deata into the fire and do some upcharas, some services to the Deata. And then the main portion is making offerings to the Deata. And then there are some final offerings you make in the fire, and finally Punahuti. So these are the steps if you look at the structure of a Homa, this is basically the structure. These are the steps. Out of these, the ones in bright red are unique to Homa. Others are chanting Vishwasnama Stotram, or if you are chanting a particular mantra a few times, you will be doing the other parts also. So this is basically only the bright red parts are unique to Homa. Now let us dwell into each of those steps and what exactly is happening. First, the pre-fire portion, right? Initial portion, there is a pre-fire and there is initial offerings in the fire. So in the pre-fire portion, as I said, this is common with standard pujas. You cover the 5 elements. You basically awaken or trigger the elements inside you when you sit down for sadhana. The first step is you trigger the earth element by just sitting down, sitting in a stable, maintainable position and thanking Mother Earth for bearing your weight and praying to Ganesha to give you, Ganesha will give you stamina to go through the puja and good planning so that you have no obstacles. So this awakens the earth element inside you and stabilizes the earth element inside you. Next, you do Achamanam. You sip water. Om Kesavaya Swaha, Om Narayana Swaha, Om Madhavaya Swaha. Those are in the manuals. So when you do that, when you do Achamanam, water is getting into your body. That awakens the water element. That triggers the water element and stabilizes the water element inside you. The third step is fire. Fire element. Earth, water, fire, air, and space. Right? Those are the elements in that order. In the order of decreasing density. So if you look at the fire element, what you do is you light a lamp. You look at. It's not enough to light a lamp. You look at the lamp for a couple of seconds. When that light hits your optical nerves, it triggers the fire element inside you. So it basically you're triggering and stabilizing the fire element inside you when you do this step. The fourth step is pranayama. You do pranayama. There are many ways in which you can do it, but the simplest way is use the thumb to regulate the right nostril. Use the ring finger and the little finger to regulate the left nostril. So you breathe out through the right nostril, whatever area you have in the lung, and then breathe in through that same. And then breathe out through the left, breathe in through the same. So not like that I'm making sound so that you know what's going on. You don't make sound. So you do that, and when you do that, to have a uniform length of the time, basically, you use a mantra. It can be Gayatri mantra, it can be Om Namo Narayanaya, or Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya, Dvasakshi mantra of Ramakrishna, or Om Namah Shivaya, any mantra. You say that mantra with the same speed and you basically do that. And normally, many people, what they do is pranayama, they do this, they say pranayama and they move on. That's not the purpose. You actually should do pranayama. You do that a few times so that your breathing is very stable and regular. See, breathing is a window to your life force, how your mental state is. So when you are agitated, your breathing is very shaky, very irregular. When you are in a stable mood, when you are in a comfortable zone, your breathing will be very regular. So you take whatever time is needed to stabilize your breathing. That will make sure that your ritual will go smoothly. And this is not just for rituals. Suppose you are going to an important meeting at the office. Before the meeting, you sit down and do pranayama for how many minutes it takes to stabilize your breathing, to make sure that it's calm and regular. Then you go into the meeting, your mind will operate better. So here, when you do pranayama, you regulate the breath. This triggers and stabilizes the air element inside you. And finally, space. What is space? Space is basically not seen anywhere, but it is there everywhere. It is basically the basis of every element. All elements are on top of space. We say there is a mic, there is my head. It looks like a solid object, but it's just some molecules sparsely placed. And each molecule is just some atoms sparsely placed, and it's all vacuum inside. And each atom, a few sparsely placed subatomic particles, and it's all space. So in the end, if you break down, it's all space. So space is everywhere, but it's not, you don't specifically see it. So when you do a ritual, the sankalpa that you have, the intention, I'm doing so-and-so ritual for so-and-so purpose. That intent is basically the space on which your ritual exists. So that is why taking a sankalpa triggers and stabilizes the space element inside you. So these are the 5 steps, and these are common to normal pujas also. Now, initial offerings into fire. So when you do these steps, see, by the way, there may be other steps. You can definitely add as many steps as you want, but this is the basic that you need to do a meaningful ritual. Now, you light fire with a specific mantra. The best thing is to put a few slices of coconut and put a camphor and light it with either matchstick or dhoop, incense stick, so that when the camphor catches fire, the coconut around it catches fire. And when you do that, put 8 drops of ghee with a specific mantra. Om Bhur Bhuva Suva Swaha. So you, it's in the manual, so you don't have to remember it. Om Bhur Bhuva Suva Swaha. Bhur Bhuva Swaha are the physical, mental, and spiritual realms of existence. So you are basically you are triggering the fire. Fire is basically the transformatory agent at all the levels, physical, mental, and spiritual levels. When you do that, and one more thing is, this is supposed to be really these 8. Some people do 16. Any number is fine. 8 manuals say 8, but 16 is also fine. These are for different samskaras you do. When a baby is born, you give a name. You give the first morsel of food. You teach the alphabet for the first time. So like that, there are various samskaras you do to a baby. So pouring these ghee drops is akin to samskaras to the Agni. And practically also the fire, because of the ghee drops, it will grow. So you're basically making the baby fire grow into an adult fire. Practically speaking, that's what you're doing. And now the seven offerings that you make to key devatas. First, Prajapati. He is the ruler of the Muladhara chakra that is inside, that is at the base of your spine. And that is the center of your life force. Your life force is normally grounded in the Muladhara chakra. And so you say Om Prajapatiye Swaha, and then you make the offering. And that is basically for Prajapati. So you are basically thanking him for enabling all your experiences in this material world. When your consciousness is rooted in the Muladhara chakra, you are experiencing this physical world around you. So you are just thanking him for all these experiences. And then if your consciousness is ascending through it, there are many nadis. Nadis are basically channels through which consciousness can ascend so that you are experiencing, your consciousness is aware of various things. So different kinds of awareness are associated with different nadis. There are 3 main nadis. There is a Surya nadi, and there is a Soma nadi. There is a solar channel, and there is a lunar channel. Solar channel is associated with the right nostril, and lunar channel is associated with the left nostril, and with the opposite side brain. And they control your structured thinking and unstructured thinking. Solar channel is for structured, logical, objective, rational thinking, whereas lunar channel is for unstructured thinking, intuition, emotion, feelings. All those are from the lunar channel. And then in the middle, there is a channel called Sushumna Nadi. It goes through the spine. That is basically direct perception of reality. It is not deducing something to logic or feeling something through emotion. It is just, you just know. When you are aware of something through the Sushumna Nadi, it is like there's no question in your mind. There's no doubt. You just know. It is for sure. When somebody like Ramakrishna Paramahansa had a darshan of Kali, it was most likely consciousness ascended through Sushumna Nadi. That is where various devatas live, various lokas, and various devatas are experienced when the consciousness is ascending through the Sushumna Nadi. So the rulers of these three nadis are Indra for Sushumna, Agni for the Pingal Nadi or Surya Nadi, the solar channel, and Soma for Ida Nadi, lunar channel. So you make an offering, Om Indra Swaha, Om Agni Swaha, Om Soma Swaha. When you make the offering, you can visualize. When you may say Indra Swaha, visualize that, oh Indra, who controls the Sushumna Nadi, through which I may have a direct perception of absolute reality at various levels. I offer it to you as an expression of gratitude. Like that, basically, you visualize. This meaning is explained here so that you can have the right visualization when you make the offering. So, three devatas for the three nadis through which your consciousness can ascend so that you experience various things. And finally, Prajapati. As your consciousness ascends at various levels, whatever you experience is experienced either physically or at the level of mind or finally at the level of spirit, soul. So, physical, mental, and spiritual realms are controlled by, again, are all created by Prajapati. Even though Prajapati is one form of Prajapati is the ruler of Muladhara Chakra. Another form of Prajapati is basically the creator of all the realms. So you, with a different mantra, Om Bhur Bhuva Suva Swaha, you make an offering to Prajapati again. So for the base, and then the three channels through which consciousness can ascend, and three levels through which consciousness can ascend, and finally, Ganapati and Varuna. These are basic in any puja. Ganapati puja and Varuna puja is standard part of every puja. So Ganapati, he gives you good planning to avoid obstacles. So you make an offering to Ganapati so that he gives you good planning. And Varuna, in spite of good planning, you will get some obstacles. So you need some persistence, some spirit of fight to overcome those. That is given by Varuna. He is the giver of persistence. So you make an offering to Om Vam Varunaya Namah Swaha. So these are the 7 offerings that you make initially before you call the main devata. And this is unique to Homa. And then when you call the main devata, it is the same whether you call devata into fire or a kalasham, which is basically a water vessel, water pot, or into an idol, into a murti. Basically the same procedure. You with your heart, with the force of your heart, you believe that God is in that entity, whether it's fire or murti or kalasha. So this is not unique to Homa. This is basically standard in other pujas also. So you invite the main devata of choice into fire. There are many ways you can do that. There are complicated procedures, but the simplest is thinking, oh God, please come here. And you can just say Atra Agacha. Atra Agacha means come here. Atra Agacha. And imagine, most important thing is imagining that God is in that murti after you do that. See, there is a story in Upanishads. There was one Brahmana who was doing an elaborate worship of Shiva every day with really opulent materials. And there was a peasant who would watch him from nearby doing his work, and he would imagine that he's doing all those pujas to Shiva. He saw it in the mind. He's not doing real puja, but he's imagining he's doing puja. In the end, that guy goes to Kailasa and this guy doesn't. This Brahmana doesn't. He asks Shiva, how is this fair? I worshipped you every day. That guy just watched. And Shiva said, you did it mechanically. You did not really feel what you were doing. You did not visualize. You just mechanically went through it. Whereas that guy, he wasn't really doing anything physically, but he was visualizing. He was really feeling that he was washing my body. He was feeling that he was feeding me food. So that is why he gets the puja. So bottom line is, all the rituals are proxies. All the materials we use are proxies for the right visualization. So having the right thought in the mind is the most important thing. So anyway, after calling the God in the fire, we do upacharas. Upachara means service. When somebody comes to your house, like you make them sit down nicely, ask them some nice questions, give them coffee or tea, it's like that. So there are many ways you can do it. Simplest way is just put some aksharas and say sarvapacharan samarpayami, which means I'm offering all services. That is basically ekopachara, just one service. Another option is panchopachara, which means 5 different services. And that is what is given in the manuals, and that is what is described here. There is also Shorshopachara, which is 16 different services. There is also 64 services. In the end, some people like elaborate rituals, then you can do more upacharas. But if you want to meditate more, you can minimize the upacharas, and you can spend more time on the main mantra that you are going to use in the puja. So in the manuals, you will have 5 upacharas, 5 services. And again, just like the initial part, These 5 upacharas correspond to the 5 elements. Here we start with earth, Mooladhara, and then we go to space and then we come down. So earth, space, air, fire, and water. So for the earth element is associated with the sense of smell. So you basically offer sandalwood powder. You can put a little bit of sandalwood powder or sandalwood paste you can apply on the murti. If it is fire, you can put some sandalwood powder in the fire. And for space element, you offer a flower. And of course, if you don't have a flower with you, you can just offer akshatas or ghee. And imagine, as I said in the story earlier, imagine that you are putting a flower. That is the most important thing. So why is flower associated with the space element? Well, as I said earlier, space is the source of everything. It is from space that water, liquids, air, solids, everything comes. Basically, everything, if you boil it down, it is space in the end. So space is the source of everything. And similarly, in flower, you have the potentiality of a whole forest. The flower may result in a fruit. The fruit may result in seeds. The seeds may result in more plants and trees. And those trees may result in a whole forest. So an entire forest lies in a flower as a potentiality. Similarly, all 5 elements lie within space as potentiality. So space element is associated with the flower. So you offer a flower for the space element, and you offer incense stick for air element. You light an incense stick and you show it, and then you light a lamp and show the lamp for the fire element. And for the water element is basically, see why Naivedyam is for water element. When you offer food, when you eat food, your saliva is produced. It's basically, that is why it is associated with the water element. So you offer some Naivedyam. And for Naivedyam, if you cook something, you can offer it in the fire. Otherwise, you can just offer some raisins or just put ghee, and imagine that it's a delicious meal having lot of different things. If you, as I said earlier, materials you are using are proxies, and what you are visualizing, what you are thinking in the mind is important. So again, these upacharas are not unique to Homa. When you do worship in a murti or kalasha also, you do the same thing. So this is not separate for Homa. And main portion. So once you call the god in the Agni and you offered the upacharas, the main portion is known as Pradhan Homa. You chant any mantras of the main Devata while making offerings in the fire. And you can stick to one mantra. Suppose you are doing Ganpati Homa. You can just do Om Gam Ganpatiye Namaha. Or you can do a Veda mantra like Om Gananamtva. Or you can do Om Srim Hrim Klim, another Bija mantra. Or you can do Shuklam Bardharam Vishnu. There are a lot of options. You can use shlokas, stotras, Bija mantras, Veda mantras. You can do multiple mantras if you are attached to them. Or you can just stick to one mantra and do it more times. But the bottom line is, you chant any mantras of the main Devata while making offering in the fire. And one standard thumb rule is, when you say at the end of the mantra, you add Swaha. If Swaha is not already part of the mantra, you add Swaha. And then when you say Swaha, you make offering in the fire. And sometimes when you are in the flow, the timing may not be right. You may say Swaha and the offering may actually be a second or two later. Don't worry too much about it. If possible, try to make them coincide. But if you offer a little earlier or a little late, it's no big deal. And each mantra can be chanted any number of times. Normal counts used by people are 4, 8, 12, 21, 28, 54, 64, 81, 108. These are common numbers. These are auspicious numbers, but really you can offer any number of times you want. And you can, my suggestion is, when the fire is strong and you know that fire will keep going without you offering anything for a while, you can just stop making offerings. Just chant the mantra without Swaha, meditate in front of the fire. So you can do that also. And this is highly scalable. You can use one mantra 4 times and be done quickly, or you can use 10 mantras each 108 times or 1000 times and do for hours and hours. So this is highly scalable, this part. Now the final offerings. Again, this is, oh, by the way, this part is not really unique to Homa. When you're doing a regular puja, suppose you're doing Hanuman Chalisa, you read it a few times, 1 time or 4 times or 11 times, how many times are you are chanting. Or suppose you are meditating with a particular, with Gayatri Mantra, suppose you chant 108 times. Basically, you are doing the same thing. So after calling the main Devata, offering some mantras of the Devata, is something that you do in regular pujas also. So this is common with regular pujas. Now this is a step that is unique to Homa. This is extra in Homa compared to regular puja. You make offering to 2 groups of 3 devatas each at the end. Oh, by the way, the initial offerings that we talked about, those 7 devatas, and the final offerings to these 6 devatas, usually the convention is only ghee. You don't offer any other materials like coconut, sesame seeds, etc. These are supposed to be only ghee. The first group is the controllers of the 3 realms that are in which we exist: the physical realm, the mental realm, and the spiritual realm. And the controllers are Agni, Vayu, and Surya. So you basically make an offering to Agni, an offering to Vayu, an offering to Surya. And Agni is the controller of the physical realm, of the earth realm, because Agni is the agent of transformation, and everything that exists physically is the result of a high level of transformation from Brahman into various elements, into basically various gross objects that we see. So Agni, the transformer, is the controller for the physical realm. And for the mental realm, mind is nothing but various thoughts that are moving around in your mind. This is just movement of consciousness. And consciousness is still, mind ceases to exist. When there is movement in the consciousness, we have thoughts. So Vayu is the mover. Vayu, don't think of Vayu as just wind that is in the physical world. Vayu is basically the agent of movement, including in the consciousness. So you make an offering to Vayu, the mover, for mental realm, for thanking everything that you experienced at the mental realm. And finally, Surya. Surya is the shiner. So he controls the spiritual realm. In the spiritual realm, when it comes to the realm of soul, basically everything is Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is connected. Everything is God. But we don't have clarity on that. We don't see that. So all you need is shining light on the reality. So sun is the shiner. So transformer, mover, and the shiner. They control Agni, Vayu, Surya. So you make offerings to these 3 devatas. And by the way, there are different ways in which these offerings are mentioned in different scriptures. For example, you can say Om Bhusvaha Agnaya Idam Namama, or Om Bhusvaha Idam Agnaye Namama. There are different variations. People think that there is something sacrosanct about the exact wording, and one is right, one is wrong. Nothing like that. Because whether you say this is for Agni, or for Agni this is, or this Agni for is, basically it's all is, you are expressing the same thing in different ways. And another thing is, if you just say Om Bhu Swaha Agnaya, Om, suppose you say Om Agnaya Swaha, or Agnaya Swaha Agnaya Idam Nama. You will see in many manuals, if you look at different versions of the manual, simple versus elaborate, regular, you will see in one may say Om Prajapataya Swaha, the other will say Om Prajapataya Swaha, Prajapataya Idam Namama. What it means is, one says this is for Prajapati, the other one says this is for Prajapati, this is not for me. Basically, you are reiterating that I have given it to him, this is no longer mine. But the thing is, whether you do it or not, it's secondary. In the end, even if you say that, but you are feeling like I gave this to Prajapati, then basically you are not really feeling that. So what is important is you can pick the simplest possible mantra to give the offering. But after making the offering, think that I'm just an agent. I was made to give it to Prajapati. This is really Prajapati's. This is Supreme Beings. He made me give it to Prajapati. Supreme Being through me gave it to Prajapati, who is also Supreme Being. If you have that spirit in your mind, that is the more important thing than exactly which wording you used. Now, the second group is the Trinity. Whether at the physical level, or at the mental level, or at the spiritual level, you experience something during this ritual or during the course of your life. It has been created. That experience has been created by the Creator. And it has been sustained by Sustainer for a while. And then finally, it has been destroyed by the Destroyer. So every experience is created, sustained, and destroyed. So you basically thank the Trinity for creating various things that you are able to experience at all the 3 levels: physical, mental, and spiritual. So one is for Prajapati, the Creator, and other is for Vishnu, the Sustainer. The last one is for Rudra, the Destroyer. I like to call him recycler. Destroyer sounds like a negative thing, but the thing is, without destruction, things become stale, things become useless. So you need to recycle so that things can be created again. So Shiva is, you can call him Destroyer, but really he's recycler. He's enabling the recycling. And finally, you make some offerings outside of the fire to some beings who are the attendants of the gods that we are worshipping. These are called Parshadas. So in the manuals, it basically says take a few raisins and put them next to the Homa. You can put them in the southwest corner of the Homa. Just leave them, and you imagine that various bhutas, various beings that are around, they will basically enjoy the food. And what you can do at the end of the Homa is you can take those raisins, or some people use rice balls, some people use fruit slices like sliced banana and put those slices. You basically take them outside and feed it to animals. If you put it outside, some squirrels, or suppose you use nuts or raisins, squirrels or other animals will eat them. So it is basically, see, I told you earlier that there are 5 prescribed daily duties. One of them is Bhota Yajna, which is feeding animals and birds. So that is also kind of integrated here when you do this. And final step is Purnahuti. Purna Ahuti literally means complete surrender. Ahuti means giving up yourself or surrendering yourself, and Purna means complete. Traditionally, a whole dry coconut is offered. Traditionally, why? Because it looks like head. Head is the seat of ahankara, ego sense of I exist, I experience things, I do things to others. Though entire world is one connected field, we have a sense that this is me and this is others. So that me, there is existence, and then there is a sense of experiencing what other beings are doing to you, and then there's a sense of affecting other beings, doing things to other beings. So dosti, astitva, bhoktatva, kartatva, existence, experiencership, and doership. So all those are basically in the head. So you offer a whole dry coconut, but the thing is here we'll be offering a small dry coconut piece as the Purnahuti. Really, you can offer anything. You can even offer a raisin. If you have a really small setup at home, you can offer an almond, a raisin. So most important thing is, rather than what you are offering, whether it looks like head or not, when you offer it, think that I'm just a dummy, I'm just an instrument. God is the doer and He's doing it through me. Have that sense, and that is the most important thing. And I know one priest who actually offers just ghee as Purnahuti. He doesn't put anything else. At the end, he takes a bit of ghee and offers as Purnahuti. Done. The bottom line is anything can be offered. But if you have a big enough Homa Kunda and you offer a whole coconut or half dry coconut, the beauty of that is it will burn nicely without your involvement for another 20 minutes or so. So during that time, you can just meditate. You don't have to get involved and keep feeding ghee to the fire. And that is the point. Meditation as the Purnahuti burns, that is the most important part of a Homa. When you do a Homa, lot of times at temples, people do Homa and then everybody gets up at the end of the Purnahuti. That is definitely not the right thing to do. When you do Homa, after the Purnahuti, with that sense that I'm just an instrument, you basically you meditate with the Homa. Keep your back, neck and head straight, close your eyes. Imagine that God is in front of you and He's accepting your prayer, and you meditate with whatever mantra or without mantra, if that is natural to you, if you are used to that. Just meditate. The company of fire will make that meditation more effective. So never leave after Purnahuti. Always try to meditate for a while. Now again, to review, there are some initial portions, pre-fire portions, which are common to regular pujas, then initial offerings in the fire, which are unique to Homa. Then you call the Deata into fire, do upcharas, common to regular pujas. Then you basically, the main portion, you make offerings to the Devata, you offer as many mantras as you want, with any counts you want, common to regular puja. Final offerings in the fire to the 6 Devatas that I mentioned. This is unique to Homa, and then Purnahuti. So this is unique to Homa. So you can see from this that any puja that you are chanting, suppose you are chanting Durga Saptashloki 9 times every day, or suppose you are chanting Hanuman Chalisa 3 times every day, you can convert that to a Homa with an overhead of maybe 5 minutes. Now, in the next 10-15 minutes, I will address some common questions that people may have. First of all, people ask, can one do by oneself? Yes. As I said earlier, this is a Nitya Karma. This is prescribed daily duty. So one can do by oneself. And moreover, there is a see, People think that Manu is the authority on dharma, but he was the authority in Satya Yuga. In Treta Yuga, it was Gautama. For every yuga, there is a different authority on Dharma Shastra. For Kali Yuga, it is Parasara Maharshi, Vyasa's father. And in a book called Parasara Madhaviyam, it is given that compared to a ritual that a priest does on your behalf, a ritual, a Homa or any other ritual, that your own father or son does, your own guru or shishya does in your name, is 100 times more effective. Compared to that, if your own father or son does it in your name, it is further 100 times more effective. Compared to that, if you do yourself, it is further 100 times more effective. In other words, compared to a priest doing in your name, if you do it yourself, it is million times more effective. The basic idea is in Kali Yuga, people's ability to identify with somebody else's troubles and basically try putting your energy, your soul into fixing it is very limited. So somebody is connected to you like a guru or shishya or father or son or yourself, it is more effective. So in general, even if your procedure is imperfect, if you do it yourself, it is million times more effective. And in any case, this is Nitya Karma. This is something that is supposed to be done every day, like brushing teeth. So one can do by oneself. And another questions people ask is, do you need a guru? Can you do without diksha from a guru? First of all, this is a Nitya Karma. If you are learning how to do a root canal surgery, you need somebody to teach you. But for brushing teeth, you just learn, do your best. So this is a Nitya Karma. You don't really need a teacher. And in general, even for complicated things, when it comes to guru, there is a misconception. Guru is like, suppose there is a millionaire father. He gives $1 million to a son to start a bank account, to start a business. It is definitely good. It helps you. But the thing is, it doesn't mean you will be successful. You can ruin all of it. Whereas if you don't have any money, you start with just $100 that you have, you earn by yourself. You start a business. You can become a millionaire if you work hard. So the thing is, if you actually have a good guru, these days there are very few gurus who can actually give you a boost, a real energy boost when you start a sadhana. But suppose you have one and you get that energy boost when you do sadhana, it is good. But not having that should not stop you from doing sadhana. Just like if you don't have a millionaire father, that doesn't mean you don't start a business if you have a good idea. So guru is useful if you have a good guru, but not having him should not stop you from sadhana. And particularly when it comes to daily homa, it is a prescribed Nitya Karma. So that should definitely not stop you. And importance of regularity. Instead of not eating every day and then suddenly one day every year eating a huge meal, having 100 course meal, you're better off eating just peanut butter jelly sandwich every day, or dal chawal every day, or dal roti every day. Something simple but you eat every day will sustain you better than something elaborate that you are eating once every 6 months. That will actually give you stomachache. So similarly, doing regular sadhana is important, whether it's daily or weekly or monthly. Do something realistic for you and do it on a regular basis. Can non-Brahmanas do it? Yes. Now, this is a prescribed Nitya Karma for, this doesn't say only for Brahmana. This is a prescribed Nitya Karma for living beings, for all human beings. So non-Brahmanas can do it. They also have all these ranas that I mentioned. Everybody can do it. And moreover, the way the Varna system today, Varna are really archetypes. They are not really a rigid division. In the old days, they were very fluid. Vishwamitra was born as a Kshatriya but became a Brahmana. And Valmiki was born as a Shodra but he became a Brahmana and also a Brahmashi. So you get, Varna is basically, Varna literally means color. It is the color of your mind. Those who are interested in God are Brahmanas. Those who are interested in might and protecting others around them are Kshatriyas. Those who are interested, like that, basically this is based on your aptitude and your nature. And this was never meant to be rigid, but in the last few hundred years it has become extremely rigid. So it is not really meaningful, and any non-Brahmanas can do. And in any case, I told you that this was the command of Devi to my guru to teach Homa to people, and she explicitly said, don't distinguish based on race, ethnicity, gender, etc., caste, etc. Anybody who's interested in making spiritual progress and contributing to collective dharma on earth, enable them with a simple procedure. So that was her word. And can women do it? Yes, women can do it. In Ramayana, there is a very explicit reference when Rama goes to see Kausalya, his mother, she was in her antapura, inner quarters, and she was doing her daily fire ritual. And then Rama basically waits for her. There is a clear reference that Kausalya was doing it. And there's nothing in the Shastras that precludes women from doing it. A lot of things Hinduism took from conquering religions in the last thousand years, and some of the prejudices and biases they had crept into Hinduism. Women can certainly do Homa. And other tricky question is, can they do during periods? The thing is, periods are not a period of ashaucha or impurity. It's not about purity or impurity, but the thing is, it's a period of transition. So in terms of, in Ayurvedic terms, it is a period when the vata in your system is very high. And when the vata is high, focus will be difficult. So that is why it is some people basically don't consider it a good idea to do during periods. But the thing is, one lady may have better focus during her periods than another man when during normal time. So see, for example, to give an analogy from Ramakrishna Paramahansa's life, I forget who it is, Golapma or Gopalma, or maybe Yoginma. He used to let her prepare prasadam for the goddess after she just washed the toilets. She would wash the toilet, not even take bath, come and cook food. And when people would object, he said, she's so pure. What are you talking about? She doesn't need any further purification. Because she's cleaning the toilet, she hasn't become impure. So like that, there are some thumb rules given in conventionally, which are basically, which have some basis behind them, but they're not absolute. So in general, my thumb rule would be during periods, better take it easy. But if you feel comfortable and if you are able to do a good Homa, I don't see why one should stop you from doing it. But general thumb rule is don't do during periods. Now, another thing people say, there are two extreme positions people take on rituals when it comes to rituals among Hindus. One is there is a trivialization syndrome that basically says, rituals, why? This is really dumb. Why do rituals? Just simply realize that all is self. What is the point of rituals? This is dumb. So that is one level. The other level is, it has to be perfect syndrome. It has to be perfect. I'll make mistakes, so I want to. So some people don't do because they think it's too hi-fi. Some people don't do because they think it's too dumb. Now the thing is, yes, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma is true. All is self, but realizing that is not easy. I always give this analogy. Suppose my hand is cut off right now and blood is oozing very fast. And if I can remain steadfast, calm, and say that this body which is going to decay, which is going to basically die in a few moments, and this blood that is coming out, it is all Brahman. And if I can remain equanimous, then I have realized. Otherwise, it is just theoretical knowledge. It is not really imbibed into your instincts, your thoughts, your actions. It is useless. Of course, it is still good to read all that and understand it theoretically, but to imbibe it in your instincts, you need to do sadhana. So sadhana is very important. And there is one great analogy in the Upanishads. Somebody who doesn't engage in actions, who trivializes action, rituals and other actions, and focuses more on knowledge, wisdom, is like a person who has no feet, who is handicapped. He can see, and when he sees a forest fire approaching him, he can't run away from it because he's handicapped. Whereas somebody who's constantly engaging in rituals, but not realizing that God is the door and we are just instruments, not understanding the essence of Vedanta, but just keep doing rituals for results. He's like somebody who has no eyes, but has strong legs. He can run, but because he can't see, he may run towards the forest fire. So you need both eyes to see where you need to go and legs to go there. So you need to understand the essence of Vedanta, understand the essence of scriptures, and also you need to do sadhana. That basically clears your ranas, keeps you clean, keeps your consciousness clean from the ranas that you are incurring on a daily basis, and enable you to basically imprint the essence of what you have theoretically understood more on your instincts and your thoughts. So it is important to do rituals. And as I said earlier, this is a nichakarma, prescribed daily duty. And again, it has to be perfect. Well, if you are doing a ritual to kill somebody or to attract somebody to somebody else, this kind of crazy stuff, you need to be careful. But this is when you are making it as an offering to God, offering to gods, as an act of expressing gratitude. As a nitya karma, you don't have to worry. You can do. If you make mistakes, other people around you may judge, but God will not. So when it comes to nitya karma, don't worry. See, to do a root canal operation, you have to make sure that you learn everything correctly. You don't make mistakes. To brush teeth, I don't know how to brush teeth correctly, so I won't brush. If you say that and stop brushing, your teeth will decay. Your tooth will decay. So it is like that basically. For nitya karma, you should not be afraid. Now that brings to the point. Can you do Homa for specific results versus spiritual progress? My suggestion is stick to making unselfish offerings to gods and let gods give you whatever they want to give you. Guru Matsyendranath or Gorakshanath said, if you don't ask, you get milk. If you ask, you get water. If you try to snatch, you get blood. Basically, what it means is if you don't ask for anything specifically, you will get the best results for you. Sometimes what you think is good for you may not be good for you. It may lead to your ruin. So it's better to leave it to God, what God wants to give you. So it's better to just do selflessly for spiritual progress rather than ask for something specific. Having said that, if there is something dharmic that you badly need, you don't have a job and you're struggling, you may have to leave the country without job, or your child is in great trouble, there was a big accident. It is fine to ask when you know that something is very, very vital to your life and it is dharmic. It is fine to take sankalpa, but in general, the guideline is don't do for specific results. Japa versus Homa. Some people criticize because Sri Krishna Bhagavan said in Bhagavad Gita that among yajnas I am Japa Yajna. So people say Japa is superior to other yajnas. Japa Yajna is superior to yajnas. That is true. But the thing is, he also said, among mantras I am Omkara. Do people only meditate with Om? Do they stop other mantras? No. When Sri Krishna said that I am this among this group of things, he's talking about the pinnacle. So basically, though there are various gods, Brahman is the pinnacle. Though there are various mantras, Om is the pinnacle. Though there are various types of yajnas, Japa is the pinnacle. But the thing is, you don't reach the pinnacle without traversing the path. You can't get to the top of the mountain or pretend that you are at the top of the mountain. So if somebody has done, somebody's fire, internal fire is purified enough, then when he sits for meditation, he does japa. It is like a yajna. It is like a homa. That inner fire is as strong as any external fire you may invoke. But for most of us, the inner fire is not strong. So in that case, the external fire will resonate and strengthen the inner fire. So japa is without doing external homa, just doing japa and feeling like you are doing a homa is ideal, but most of us are not there and don't pretend to be there. It is useful to do homa. Finally, one thing, there is a notion of dasyamsha homa. When you do specifically for mantra siddhi in any mantra, you do the mantra n times and you do homa with it n divided by 10 times. Dasyamsha means 1/10. So 1/10 of the count is done in the homa, and then there is tarpana, there are other marjana, other procedures for siddhi in the mantra. First of all, my suggestion is forget about all these siddhis. This is just unnecessary things. Even if you don't need something, you are committed to dharma, whatever you need for your dharma, God will give you. Trust God like a mother or father. Don't ask for something. So my suggestion is stay away from siddhis. But the thing is, if you want to pursue this is mostly popular among tantrics. If you want to pursue the dasyamsha homa, you can use the manuals and use the dasyamsha homa for whatever mantra you are using. But the thing is, this is one application of homa. Some people have come up recently, some internet celebrities who basically criticize, say that homa can only be done as part of the dasyamsha homa. You can't do homa as a daily sadhana. That is basically not correct. But that is inconsistent with the shastras. The dasyamsha homa is just one application. It is kind of like if you want to cook rajma, the kidney beans, you soak it for 8-10 hours in the night and then you cook it for 1 hour. You get the perfect taste. So it is dasyamsha homa is kind of like that. The soaking is like chanting and then cooking is like homa. But the thing is, if you have a moong dal, you don't need to soak it for 10 hours. You just do homa. You just directly cook it. It is good. Moreover, even with rajma, even with red kidney beans, if you don't have enough time, you are better off just cooking it directly, even without soaking. You will get better taste than if you say I have only 1 hour, so I'll cook it, I'll soak it for 50 minutes and cook it for 10 minutes. You will end up with nothing. So in modern life, if you don't have enough time to do long sadhana, you're better off doing Homa on a regular basis than trying to still do japa and then do 1/10 of Homa. Now some practical tips. Is it better to do indoors or outdoors? According to Shastras, doing it outdoors is better. When you do outdoors, the essence of it is spread across the atmosphere. So it benefits. The benefits are not contained to your own house or your own family, but that is the dharmic thing to do. So it is ideal. But the thing is, for most of us who live in cold climates like this, it is not realistic. So it is fine to do indoors. It's not banned, but outdoors is better. So whenever you get a chance, enjoy doing it outdoors, because there is something beautiful about nature. Our current indoor spaces and vastu are restricting the energies in the space. And how to minimize the smoke? If you use firewood, most kind of firewood basically do produce smoke. And if you use cow dung cakes, havan samagri, etc., they do produce smoke. If you use sesame seeds, black and white, they have a lot of oil inside them, so they burn nicely without smoke. And if you use dry coconut, either pieces or slices or halves or whole, they produce very little smoke because they have the right balance of solid material versus oil. So they burn nicely without any smoke. The only smoke you will mostly get when you are using mostly copra, dry coconut, is at the end of the Homa. When the fire is withdrawing, you will get some puffs of smoke. And I know some people who do in apartments, what they do is, they do with fire, dry coconut. At the end of the Homa, they take the Homa kunda, put it in the kitchen under exhaust, they turn on the exhaust. So the smoke just goes into the exhaust. And I know some people who live in apartments, in high-rise apartments, they basically open a window and do it close to the window. But that may not be realistic in cold places. So you have to find the balance. And also nuts, almonds, cashews, etc. They have the right amount of oil. So they burn nicely without a lot of oil. And raisins also don't give a lot of oil. And also don't pour ghee. Offer ghee drop by drop. Then basically ghee should be used to burn other materials. You should not be just burning ghee. Then there will be a lot of smoke. And other thing is, if you are using firewood or even copra, make sure that there is good air circulation around all the materials you are offering. Suppose you have you are offering firewood. If you just make them a pile, there will be parts that are not that don't have air around them, oxygen around them. So you will get a lot of smoke. Whereas, suppose you have a homakunda like this, you suspend one wood log from this bottom to this top. So most of its surface is touching air, and you put another one the same way. Then basically, you maximize the surface of the substances you offered that is touching air. Similarly, if you are offering coconut, if you just dump a lot of coconut pieces one on the other, there will be parts that are not catching air. If you arrange them nicely so that there is more area touching air, oxygen is what fire needs to basically consume the material. So pay attention to the air circulation. And one more thing is, when people do Homa, they tend to, whatever sesame seeds or coconut they are offering, they tend to offer close to where they are. If they are sitting here, this part will have a lot of material and these parts will be empty. So try to spread it across the Homakunda. Spread it both in time and both space. Spread it in put it in different places, and don't put lot at the same time. Put it here, then put it here, and come back here. Then you're spacing your offerings in both in space and in time. Then basically there is a better chance that things will burn nicely. In a well done Homa, ideally, at the end there should not be a lot of smoke. There should be very little smoke. Of course, in the beginning when you do, there will be a lot of smoke, but you can, with practice, you understand what is the nature of fire, and you'll be able to do Homa without a lot of smoke. And diet restrictions, I suggest being vegetarian, at least, and also not consuming alcohol. So if you stick to sattvic food, vegetarian, non-alcoholic food, it is better for you. But the thing is, if somebody says, no, I cannot stop alcohol, then take alcohol and do Homa. It is better to do it with alcohol than not do it at all, because you are anyway taking alcohol. But ideal will be sattvic diet. At least if you are doing every weekday, every week, the few hours before the Homa, basically at least don't consume that kind of substances. And one more thing is, don't do Homa on a full stomach. When you have full stomach, all the fire inside your system is being used for digestion. Then basically you will feel that you are sometimes dull when you after eating. That is because there's no fire available to the brain. So the fire that is available to assimilate your spiritual experiences, that fire will also be very low. So it is better to not eat anything 1 or 2 hours before the Homa. Before, in general, any sadhana, not just Homa. And what are the right clothes to wear? Well, if you are comfortable with so-called traditional clothes, definitely you can wear them. But the main guideline is they should be comfortable. You should basically, they should not distract you. If you are wearing a vesti, you are not used to it, and there are some loose parts that are hanging around, it's a fire hazard. And secondly, you are worrying about it. You should not be thinking about your clothes. So it should be something very simple, something that you feel comfortable in. And Shastra, we don't even know what kind of clothes rishis wore thousands of years back. And the best time is Sandhya time. If you have a chance to do 1 hour before or after either dawn or dusk, that is the ideal time to do Homa, but you can do any time. But try to do before 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Don't do close to midnight, unless certain kind of devatas are accessible then. So those Homas can be done during that time. But otherwise, general guideline is try to do before late night, and if possible, do at dawn or dusk. And if you have a chance to do Homa during an eclipse, that is a superb time. Eclipse is when Rahu and Ketu basically trouble sun and moon. Sun is our soul, moon is the mind. And sun and moon are the eyes of the divine. They are the eyes of the cosmic being. So, and also they are the maintainers, they are the keepers of the dharma in the world. It is the soul and mind which are basically deciding the natural order within our system. So, Rahu and Ketu is the spirit of detachment. Rahu is the spirit of getting what you want at any cost. So that basically they are the same demon cut into two halves. So when Rahu and Ketu torment sun and moon, it is not a good time for dharma. So that is why temples are closed. But it is a good time for getting things at any cost. So basically doing kamya sadhana. You want something at any cost, doing sadhana for that, or you want to increase your detachment. That is Ketu. So either Rahu or Ketu, for their type of sadhanas, it is a good time. So if you have a chance to do Homa, the person I mentioned earlier, Aghori Vimalananda, he used to take his sishyas outside Bombay. He used to live in Pune. So outside Bombay, Pune area, he used to take them outside the city, away from all the busy life. And he used to initiate his sishyas into Homa on eclipse days, eclipse nights. And in general, I suggest don't allow others to make offerings to you in your fire, because in the beginning it's okay. After a while, the fire and your inner fire, your spiritual fire, effectively connected with your soul, form a bond. There is some resonance and there is a connection formed. So after that, if somebody is offering, any thoughts that they have, associated karmas may impact you. So there is some karmic intertwining. So it's better to not allow others to make offerings. But the thing is, if your karmas are already intertwined, like spouse, children, parents, siblings, it may be fine. So it's a judgment call, but the general guideline is if you allow somebody to make offerings in your fire, some karma transaction may be involved. And some people are going around on internet these days saying, oh, if you have pitta dosha, don't do Homa. It will increase your pitta. Pitta, for those who are not familiar, there are 3 doshas in Ayurveda: Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. One is Kapha is earth and water predominance. Pitta is water and fire predominance. Vata is air and space element predominance in your system. So they say if you do Homa, it increases your Pitta. That is absolute nonsense. See, if you have Vata dosha, you don't stop breathing because you have Vata dosha. The thing is, these elements have positive aspects. There is something called Tejas, Ojas, and Prana. When air and space elements are positive, they manifest as our Prana. When they are negative, they become Vata. Similarly, fire element, when it is positive, it becomes our Tejas. When it is negative, it becomes our Pitta. So doing Homa purifies all the elements, including fire element inside us. So it is not a problem at all. This is just a misconception. And finally, some people say, oh, if fire planets are weak in your chart, Sun or Mars or the fire planets, if they are your 8th lord, Sthana lords, don't do Homa. It is dangerous for you. Again, that is nonsense. If Saturn, who's the air planet, if he is your 8th lord, you don't stop breathing. you still breathe. Similarly, even if 5 planets are bad for you, you can do Homa. It will only whatever weakness they have, it will make it positive. So it is a positive thing you get. And I'll go through it very fast. I want to start the Homa now. Which Devata to worship? Well, start with Ganpati. Do Ganpati for a few months before you switch to any other Devata. If you are attached to some other Devata like Rama, Durga, you can do. But always do Ganpati for a couple of months. And I suggest starting with the simplest manual or the simple manual in the website. And you can expand. You can go to other manuals and take some steps and add them if you like. But the thing is, in my opinion, instead of doing an elaborate procedure, if you stick to a short procedure, but do the main mantra more times, it is as good. It's not like one is superior, one is inferior. It's just, some people just like more elaborate rituals. So based on your taste, you can adapt. And there are, in the manual, in the simple Homa manual, it just says, Bhuloke Dharma Sthapanartham, which means to establish Dharma on earth. I'm doing this Homa. We are not making any specific individual Sankalpa. But if you want, you can add your individual Sankalpa. See, God knows who you are, where you are. And even if you don't say why you are doing it, God knows why you are doing it. So my suggestion is don't worry about all those things. You keep it simple. That is my suggestion. But it is okay to do longer Sankalpa. You can do long slokas like Vishwasnama Stotram, or you can just do a simple mantra like Om Namo Narayanaya. Both are equally effective. Om Dum Durgaya Namaha is as effective as Durga Saptasati, which is 700 slokas. The thing is, some people who have good focus, if you do something short and you just focus your mind on it and keep chanting, you will enjoy it more. And some people whose focus is limited, they need something long so that it anchors their mind. You know where you are, which page you are in, which verse you are in. So for those people, it may be better. You figure out what is good for you. Our rishis never said this is better, this is inferior. They always gave multiple options and let you pick based on your aptitude. So pick whatever works for you. And if you are traveling, or if you are at a hotel, or if you are in an apartment where fire is absolutely impossible, you can do Deepa Homa. You can light a lamp and pour a drop of ghee with every swaha, just like you are offering in the fire, but not in the fire, outside the fire, in the Deepa, in the lamp. So a lamp Homa is possible. And you can do a Mansik Homa. When I travel, I like to do a Mansik Homa. Basically, you imagine your Muladhara Chakra, which is said to be a square, the base of your spine. Imagine that there's a Homakunda there. And when you say Om Bhurbhuva Sorom and start the fire, imagine that a fire lit up in your Sushumna Nadi. And imagine that God came there. And when you say the mantra, say Swaha and imagine that you are offering your thoughts to that God. You can just do mental Homa. But the thing is, it will be effective only when your inner fire is sufficiently purified and sufficiently strong. When it is weak, this is useless. So it is better to use external Homa to strengthen the inner Homa, the inner fire. You can do Jatragni Homa. When you are eating food, with every morsel, you don't have to do the entire procedure like Prajapatiya Swaha, all those initial steps. But when you are eating food, you can say a mantra Om Namo Narayanaya Swaha, and then imagine that Narayana who's in your Jatragni, he's eating it. So basically, makes your thoughts pure and the process of eating the food purer, and your digestion will be better that way. And last thing, some people see shapes in fire. When you do Homa, it appears like a particular god, and people get carried away by it. Such things happen in my Homas also. But the thing is, don't think about it. Whether you see a shape or not, when you do Homa, you have to believe that God is coming in the fire and accepting your offering. As a matter of fact, if you start seeing that a particular shape came, it will increase pride. You will think that it is some kind of trophy, accomplishment. It is not. It may even be a test. So what you think is an accomplishment may be a test that you are about to flunk royally. So keep that in mind. Don't think about all these things. It is important to ignore all these trivial things. And last thing, when you do a single Homa, you can do multiple devatas. You can call Durga, make offerings, and then call Rama, make multiple offerings. So like that, you can cover multiple devatas. And some people make a Purnahoti to each of them, but the best is you call them, you do Pradhan Homa for them, Upcharas and Pradhan Homa. Then the final offerings that you make to 6 gods, you do together one time basically. And then you do one Purnahoti basically for all of them. with all their mantras or with one of their mantra. So this is possible, and this is the real last thing. So if you do Homa on a regular, some of you may end up doing Homa every weekend or every day. So if you do, what you can do with the materials is you can leave the ash or coals that are in the Homa Kunda as a base for the next Homa. Put some coconut pieces on top of it and put camphor and start the fire. So any coals that are there not fully burnt, they will burn more fully in the next Homa. So it will keep doing like that in the same Homa Kunda without cleaning it for several days. And once in a while, when it becomes too much, filter the ash, the fine ash, you keep it aside. You can apply it on your forehead as protection. You can apply it on your body. Some people even eat it. And Incas in South America, they used to make tea with it. They used to boil water with it and basically filtrate and then drink it. The essence of the material and the mantras will be absorbed in the water, and they believe that it is very auspicious for you. That can also be done. Also, some people bury it around the house. 8 corners of the house as protection. The Homa Bhasma, ash from the Homa. The other thing you can do is, if you have a farm or something, or you have some plants, a garden, you can use it as a fertilizer. It is very rich in minerals, the ash. So these are various applications, and the website is vedicastrologer.org. You can also go to easyhoma.org. It redirects to a specific page in the same page, easyhavan.org. And a lot of people are already doing it, and we believe that in coming decades, more and more people will come to that. So welcome to the community, and all the best. So as I said, we took longer now. So I'll try to do the Homa shortly. So in the next 45 minutes, I'll do a Homa here. We will need to change the setup. Give me a second. So presentation start. Yeah. Yeah. Easyhoma.org. Very easy to remember. Or easyhavan.org. If you're North Indian, water and tea, please. So when I actually, you can distribute the handouts now. And I have to figure out how I stop sharing here.
Then move the chairs around to see clearly.
Yeah, you can come closer. This you can position such that it is showing me. This one is not doing anything except the camera. I need a few of these in the beginning. And this should be a little away. Sorry, can't hear well. Thank you. I think that's good. Leave it for others. So there will be fire here. So position is such that it's not affected by this fire. One thing I did not mention is Homa Kunda can be in any shape. Ideal is the pyramid shape, or just a cube kind of shape, or a circular shape is also fine. But the main thumb rule is the depth depth has to be at least half of the diameter. If the diameter, if it is a circle or if it is a square, the size of the square. So compared to the size, depth has to be at least half. That's not exactly satisfied here, but it should be okay. The idea behind the thumb rule is things will burn nicer that way. If something is very shallow, things will spread all around and there will be some unburnt materials in the Homa Kunda. Ideally, whatever you offer should burn nicely. So that is the recommended thing. So Shastras say half of the thumb rule. Is there a matchstick?
What is the puja that they will do in the 4 corners of the Homa Kunda?
Not 4 really. They do all the 8 corners. Dikpalaka. Yeah. In the simple manuals, you don't have that step. If you go to the regular manual, you will see the step. You basically offer a flower or offer some aksharas, but be thankful to the 8 Dikpalakas. It's not really strictly required. Some people basically they want connection with the up element, so they basically make sure they put some sand on top of it. But the thing is, in a way, it is your the sand is not really may not really be pure. So in a way, your fire is coming in touch with something that's not pure. So I won't recommend putting sand. Some people put rice flour.
Rice flour is also not.
No, it's fine. But the thing is, you don't really need any. As a matter of fact, if you're doing this is for people who do once in a while. If you're doing regularly, you have your own house at the place. What is better than that? Yeah. In my okay, another thing. The best direction for doing this is either southeast or northeast of the house. But the thing is, southeast or northeast. So northeast is the Devata sthana, that is where the divine energy will be present. And southeast is basically the Agni sthana. So that is where the Agni energy is coming. So those two are the best. But in the end, as I said with alcohol, the choice is between not doing and doing it perfectly. Doing it imperfectly.
But the person who is doing should be facing towards east.
Okay, that's another good point. The ideal direction is east. You should face east when you're doing. North is also fine. Northeast is also fine. Those are the ideal direction. But the thing is, I have some water. It is okay to face any direction. But south, I recommend not. Don't face the south direction. South is the Pittsthana. It is the Yama rule direction. So you face south and do Homa only for Pitta Homa. You are making offerings to the Pitta Homa. Only that you face south. So don't face south. All other directions are fair game. But preferable is east or south. When I do at home, because I have a specially constructed room for this, I face east. And we arrange it such that you guys will be facing east. I'm facing west. But the idea is I want you to face a good direction. I could have just put it like this, but because of the heat, the surface will get spoiled. So we can suspend it on some metallic thing. See, actually, there is a picture that I showed earlier when I did Ashvidya Gurukulam. There is a flower pot stand. So I basically put that and suspended the Homa. Bottom line is, if there is some air under the surface, it's not directly in contact with the floor, the floor is safe. Whereas if it is directly on the floor can get spoiled. Yeah, it's a practical solution. If you find the right size, find a Homa Kunda and the flower pot stand that are compatible, perfect solution. Also, some people arrange bricks. You can put a few bricks and put it on top of it. But the thing is, again, look for stability. Just put it on top of something. For example, they gave me this. If I put on top of this, it may not be stable. When I put something, it may fall. So make sure that it's stable. So if you put one thing you can do is up bricks. You can put a couple of bricks here, or 4 directions, and suspend it. Instead of putting on top of this, to suspend it, then basically bricks are holding it from falling below, but it won't move on. So bottom line is, see, use common sense. Any convention that has come is based on common sense, but the purpose may have been lost, may have been changed, like the cat story that I mentioned. So try to understand the purpose and use your common sense. And bottom line is, it should be stable. should not spoil your flow. Another option is when if you just directly do on the floor, it is okay to spoil your floor. You can just lay bricks and do it directly. That is also possible. Okay, we'll start now. Yeah. Yeah, they will get from this mic. It will be weak, but that's all. I may not exactly follow what's in the handouts, but it will be somewhat similar, so you can follow along. I will do the procedure I'm used to. As I said, there are various procedures given in the manuals, and it's not that one is perfect, one is imperfect. All are various options. As a matter of fact, all our manuals are based on the Vedic procedure. There are some tantric procedures. Instead of making offerings to Prajapati, Indra, Agni, etc., you make offerings to Gnana, Agnana, Vidya, Avidya, like that basically. There are different traditions, and it's not that one is inferior. Our goal is to enable people to do Homa. If you already know your procedure, do your procedure. You don't. Our main goal is you should do Homa. Yeah. You can do after every Anvakam. If you are doing Rudram, after every Anvakam, you can add Swaha. That is one way. Another way is there are different ways of breaking. So there are other ways to break it, but do what is natural. If you are doing same with Narayan Sopram. Yeah. If you receive Diksha and you already did Japa with the mantra, you can add Swaha at the end of the mantra. If the mantra doesn't already have Swaha, add Swaha and then break offering, and you can basically do have that mantra. Om Bhudevye Namaha. Om Sri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha. Basically, whether you say it or not, be grateful to Mother Earth for bearing your word, bearing your weight, and thank Gandhi. And keep it away enough for you because fire can be hard. So don't basically put it like this. When the fire gets going, you will realize. So it should be at the right amount of distance. And one more thing, those of you who cannot sit on the floor, you can sit on a chair, put another chair in front of you, put the Homa on it and do Homa, or put a table on in front of you like here. I actually would like to sit on the floor, but it will be easier for people to see, so that's why I'm sitting here. But those who cannot sit on the floor, please sit on a chair and do. There's no rule that you only sit on the floor. It's perfectly fine. Only thing is the Homa should be at the same height or higher height than the so it should not be below. So that's the only thing. Now express gratitude to Mother Earth. Then what is the next step? Achmana. Yeah, some water. Oh, I have. Sorry. And ghee, melted ghee. Oh, first wash your hand because it may not be clean. Om Kesavaya Swaha. Om Narayanaya Swaha. Om Madhavaya Swaha. So Achmanam has triggered and stabilized the water element inside you. Now lamp. We don't have a lamp here, right? Candle. Yeah, light a candle. If you are doing at home, you can basically have a lamp that is going on forever. Or you can just see. You can just light a matchstick, look at the flame. All set. You just use a matchstick. The key is when you are looking at that fire, that will trigger the fire element. In general, my suggestion is, my humble 2 cents is, when you are doing something is missing or something is wrong, don't basically fret over. Keep it simple. In the end, as I did here, you light a matchstick and you look at it, it's not the same purpose. You can say Om Deepak Jyotaya Namaha, or just look at it. Then the air element. So I do pranayama. and sankalpas. For sankalpa you can do with akshatas. We don't have akshatas, right? That's fine. You can do sankalpa with akshatas or you can do with water. We'll just do with water. If you are doing with akshatas, the way is your left palm facing up on the right knee and your right palm containing those akshatas facing palm down. You put like this on the right knee and you take the sankalpa. And the sankalpa can be long. Here we'll keep it personal and short. So you can also take sankalpa with akshatas and with water. In the end, even if there's no material, the intent in your heart is basically the sankalpa. Om Mama Pata Samasta Dutta Kshay Dwara Parameshwara Prichatham Sakla Devata Prasada Siddhartham Atya Sudhane Sudhamurte Sakla Devata Homa Karma Atyanta Laghuvidhanayani Yathasakti Karishye. So when you take sankalpa, the akshatas in your palm after water, you drop it into water. The most important thing is have the thought in your mind of I'm successful. Drop it into the water between you and the home. And if you have a special bowl, you can collect it. So that's right. Now, what is the next step in the manual? Starting the fight, right? Om Bhurbhuva Swaram and start. Om Bhurbhuva Swaram. That's a step that's not in the manual. This is another step that's not in the manual. It's not essential. Yeah. That is there. Om Bhurbhuva Swaram, starting the fight. What I did. Om Kavyadam Agni. That is not there. Om Aditenu Manjasva. Om Anumatenu Manjasva. Oh, again, wrong direction. Om Aditenu Manjasva. Anumatenu Manjasva. Saraswatenu Manjasva. Om Bhagavata Prasava. This is basically not in the manual, non-essential step. If you use a longer manual, it will be there. What you are doing is water flowing from southwest to northeast. So this way you are creating. So ideally, if any activity is happening in a place where there is water flowing from southwest to northeast in both the directions, surrounded by it, that is considered excellent vastu. And there is one great city which is kind of with that vastu. It's considered very auspicious. So anyway, so we try to simulate that by making water flow like that. That's the meaning of the step. Now, what is the next step? 8 drops of ghee. Om Bhurbhuvas. Om Bhurbhuvasva Swaha. 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 What are the initial offerings now? Om Prajapataye Swaha. Om Indraya Swaha. Om Agnaye Swaha. Om Somaya Swaha. Om Bhurbhuvasva Swaha. Om Kalpataru Namah Swaha. Om Varunaya Swaha. You can say Varunaya Swaha, you can say Varunaya Namah Swaha. Both are fine. Now we'll call God into the fire. We'll start with Ganapati. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Atra Agaccha. This is Yoni Mudra. You don't have to put it. You know how to put it, you can put it. Yoni Mudra. Basically, is when you do this mudra, something expressing within you, it provokes that sense. Yes. That is why when you are invoking God in a particular object, you do the Yom Mudra, but it's not necessary. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah Atra Agacha. Most important thing is when you say Atra Agacha, think that he is coming here. Atra Agacha, Avahito Bhava, Sthapito Bhava, Sannihito Bhava, Sannivito Bhava, Agapantito Bhava, Deva Prasida Prasida. Again, all these mudras steps are not in the manual. It's fine. Those are not essential. Just say Atra Agacha. Imagine that Ganpati is in the sky. By the way, if you have a Kalasha or a Murti, you can use that Murti and Kalasha also and call in all of them. But you can do just with Kalasha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah. Now, Upcharas. You do not have all the materials we mentioned there, like flowers and wood. I'm just going to put different. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah. Om Lam Prithivyapaye Namah. Gandham Samarpayami. Imagine that is not. Om Ham Akashatmane Namah. Pushpam Samarpayami. Om Yam Vayuvatmane Namah. Rupam Agrapayami. Om Ram Ajnatmane Namah. Deepam Darsayami. We have the Deepam visual. Om Vam Amritatmane Namah. Nevedyam Samarpayami. Om Sam Sarvatmane Namah. Sarvopachara Samarpayami. Now we'll do some mantras of Ganapati. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim. Those who know can chant along. Om, we'll do just 4 times. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam Swaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam Swaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam Swaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam Swaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam Swaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam Swaha. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatim Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Srivanjyotirhisya Sadhanam. Vaushad. When you say the last time, the convention needs to say Vaushad of Swaha, but if you say Swaha also, it is fine. Now we'll do another mantra of Ganapati. Om Shri, it's also in the manual. Om Shri Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarata Sarvajaname Atmanaya Swaha. Om Shri Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarata Sarvajaname Atmanaya Swaha. Om Shri Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajaname Atmanaya Swaha. Om Shri Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajaname Atmanaya Swaha. Om Shri Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajaname Atmanaya Swaha. Vaushad. When you make an offering, the convention is to offer like this, as if you are asking instead of giving. So you basically make an offering. That is the idea. Now, the authorization. Do the authorization once. How many of you know authorization? You can chant it out. Om Namaste Ganapataye Tvameva Pratyaksham Tattvamasi Tvameva Kevalam Kartasi Tvameva Kevalam Kartasi Tvameva Kevalam Bhattasi Tvameva Sarvam Kalvidam Brahmasi Tvam Sakshadatmasi Nityam स्वाहा कृतं वच्मि सत्यं वच्मि स्वाहा अवत्वं माम् अववक्तारम् अवश्रोतारम् अवधातारम् अवधातारम् अवानुशानमवशिष्यम् अवपश्चात्तात् अवपुरस्तात् अवोत्तरात्तात् अवदक्षिणात्तात् अवचोद्धात्तात् अवाधरात्तात् सर्वतो मां पाहि पाहि समन्तात् स्वाहा त्वं वाङ्मयस्त्वं चिन्मयः त्वमानन्दमयस्त्वं ब्रह्ममयः त्वं सच्चिदानन्दाद्वितीयोऽसि त्वं प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयोऽसि स्वाहा सर्वं जगदिदं तत्तो ध्यायते सर्वं जगदिदं तत्ततिष्ठति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि लयमेष्यति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति त्वं भूमिरापो नलो निलो नभः त्वं चत्वारिवाक्पदानि स्वाहा त्वं गुणत्रयातीतः त्वम् अवस्थात्रयातीतः त्वं देहत्रयातीतः त्वं कालत्रयातीतः त्वं मूलाधारस्थितोऽसि नित्यं त्वं शक्तित्रयात्मकः त्वां योगिनो ध्यायन्ति नित्यं त्वं ब्रह्मा त्वं विष्णुस्त्वं रुद्रस्त्वमिन्द्रस्त्वम् अग्निस्त्वं वायुस्त्वं सूर्यस्त्वं चन्द्रमास्त्वं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवस्वरों स्वाहा गणादिं पूर्वमुच्चार्य वर्णादीन् तदनन्तरम् अनुस्वारः परतरः अर्धेऽनुलसितं तारेण ऊर्ध्वम् एतत्तव मनुस्वरूपम् ककारः पूर्वरूपम् अकारो मध्यमरूपम् अनुस्वारश्चान्त्यरूपम् विद्युदुत्तररूपम् नादस्तन्धानम् संहितादिः सैषा गणेशविद्या गणकर्षिः निचरद्गायत्री शब्दः गणपतिर्देवता ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः स्वाहा एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात् स्वाहा एकदन्तं चतुर्हस्तं पादमङ्कुशधारिणं प्रदं च वरदं हस्तैर्विभ्राणमूर्धशतभुजं रक्तं लम्बोदरं शूर्पकर्णकं रक्तवासं रक्तगन्धानुलिप्तानपुष्पैः सुपूजितं भक्तानुकम्पिनं देवं जगत्कारणमच्युतम् आविर्भूतं च श्रुत्यादौ प्रकृतेः पुरुषास्परम् एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः स्वाहा नमो व्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रपतपतये नमस्तेऽस्तु लम्बोदराय एकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने सुताय वरदमूर्तये नमः स्वाहा भौषट्. Now we'll do a simple mantra. See, one thing you have to keep in mind. Those who are attracted to Veda mantras will want to do it Veda mantras. But it is fine to just do a simple mantra. All are equally powerful. Though some people say that association is the most powerful prayer of Gणपति. If you have the right intention, even Om Gam Gणपतये Namah will be a powerful mantra. We'll do that mantra. Om Gam Gणपतये Namah Swaha. Om गणपतये नमः स्वाहा ॐ गं 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 गणपतये नमः स्वाहा Om Gam Gणपतये Namah. Now we'll do one last mantra for Gणपति. It is the simplest mantra for Gणपति. Just one letter mantra. Om Gam Swaha. 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 Om Gam Swaha.
How can you count the number of?
I didn't count. I just did whatever I felt like.
So
You
it's
want-
no matter we can to count.
My suggestion is do whatever works for you. If you want to count, you find a way of counting. If you want to do 4, maybe you can do in 4 corners. And then if you want to do 8, all the 8 corners. If you want to do 12, all the 8 corners, and then maybe in one like this, one like this, one like this, one like this. You come up with your own scheme so that you are keeping count. The other one is have a mala. Suppose you are doing 108, you can count with the mala. And when I do 100, because having a mala in the hand is kind of distracting. Another way you can do is when you are doing 108, you can do 12, and then you can basically just count 1, 2, 3, 9 times. You figure out your own way of counting, and it is fine to do without count also. But whenever you feel like I'm done. But the thing is, if you have a rule that you want to do 3 malas every day, or you are doing 10 malas of meditation, 1 mala of Homa every day, then you want to keep count, then use a mala. Rudraksh mala, Samadhi mala. In this case, I'm doing whatever I feel like. Now we'll do Lakshmi and Narayana. We'll call Lakshmi and Narayana in Om Lakshmi Narayana Namaha. Imagine that Lakshmi and Narayana are there. Now we won't do Panchopcharas. We'll just say Om Lakshmi Narayana Namaha Sarvopacharan Samarpayami. Now we're out of syllabus. It's not in the manual. We'll come back to the manual when you come to the end, the final portion. We'll do a simple Lakshmi mantra. Om Shri Hari Mahalakshmi Namaha Swaha. It's a powerful mantra given by Narada Maharshi. Om Shri Hari Mahalakshmi Namaha Swaha. 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 We'll do one for Narayana now. Simple mantra, Ashtakshara. Om Namo Narayanaya Swaha. 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 And one strong recommendation I will make to you is, instead of having target counts for the mantra, I will do this mantra 1,000 times, 100 times, and feeling it as an accomplishment. I'm trying to hurry. Sometimes people, when I go to temples, Sri Suktam Phalasruti says, if you do 16 times Homa with fire, with ghee, the so-and-so result. So people at temples, they do 16 times sometimes. The first 15 times they chant like Om Hiranya Varnam Harini, like that. Last time they chant like Om Hiranya Varnam Harini. You should chant with the same speed throughout. You should never be in a hurry. You should always chant visibly. Every letter should be audible, and you should feel the sound of every letter when you are saying it. So don't. I know one temple where they told the priest, "You are taking 2 hours for Rudranamakam. That's not our budget. We need to generate this much money for simple expansion. So you have to do it in 1 hour." So he basically resigned the job and he started his own small temple in a small part. So he's a priest from a great pedigree. He could not basically accept it. So anyway, so the counts are second. Even if you do 4 times, enjoying it, feeling it. It is more effective than 4 lap times mechanically running. See, suppose you are telling your father or mother or wife or husband or son or your close ones, I love you. You say, I love you. You don't say, I love you, I love you, I love you. You say 100 times fast. It has no meaning. So it is like that basically. You think that the offerings you are making, the mantra you are chanting is like saying, I love you to God. Because it that way. And you try to understand the meaning and feel the meaning in yourself and enjoy it. Counts are second. Now we'll do another mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Swaushad. Now we'll do a few avatars of Vishnu. We won't explicitly call them in fire. I mean, illustrating various approaches you can take. You can call a god in the fire, do upacharas and then make offerings. You can call a god, just directly make offerings. And now I'm not even calling the god, I'm just making offerings. One rationally, they are all Vishnu's avatars, I already called Narayana. But even otherwise, see, even if you don't, if you put an envelope and if you don't put the address, if the name is there, Agni will take it to the fire. If I'm making offerings to Rama, even before calling Rama in the fire, if I make offerings, Agni has the capability to take it to the spirit of Rama. Look at it this way. In the beginning, we made offerings to Prajapati, Indra, Agni, Soma, etc. Did we invoke them in the fire? We just basically said, this is for Indra, take it Agni. So Agni takes it to Prajapati. So if we can take it to Prajapati and Indra, why can't take it to Rama and Krishna? So we'll just, without calling them explicitly, I'll just make offerings. For Rama, what should we do? Valsakshi mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramachandraya Swaha. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Ramachandraya. Oh shit. We'll do another simple mantra, shloka. As I said, not only mantras, you can do shlokas also. Om Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Swaha. Om Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Swaha. Om Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Swaha. Om Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Swaha. Om Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Vaushad. We'll do one Krishna mantra. Om Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Swaha. 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 Vaushad. The mantra had Swaha, so I added Vaushad. Om. Another mantra of Krishna. What should we do? Om Krishna Mande Jagadguru. It is the Makuta of Krishna. You can use it as a mantra. Om Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Swaha. Om Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Swaha. Om Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Swaha. This is basically celebrating Krishna as the Guru of the universe. Om Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Swaha. Om Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Swaha. Now we'll do one mantra from Harisantarana Upanishad, the ISKCON people do. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. They do the reverse. Hare Krishna first and then Hare Rama. We'll do the standard one within the Upanishad. My belief is, Prabhupada, when he taught it reverse to ISKCON people, he used the same principle that was used when the Ram mantra was taught to one. It was taught as Mara. And then he kept saying Mara, 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 it became Rama. So probably Srila Prabhupada used the same principle. So we'll do the standard one. Om Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Swaha. Om Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Swaha. Om Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, shut. See, we are doing every mantra. So many mantras, I'm doing very few times. I'm hoping that some of you will do a particular mantra more times in future. Start doing Homa. We'll do Narsimha. His Akshtakshi mantra is Om Namo Narsimhaya, but Shraum is an important bija. Shraum, Sha, Ra, Au, Shraum. Shraum bija removes poison, not only physically but at the mental and spiritual. So all the poisons you have in your causal body, based on your karma, all the poisons you have in your subtle body, in terms of your fears, your anxieties, etc., and all the poisons you have in your physical body, from eating, drinking, breathing, all the toxins that are around us as well. So he can utilize them. So we'll add that. Om Krau, Namo Narsimhaya. Om Krau, Namo Narsimhaya Swaha. Om Krau, Namo Narsimhaya Swaha. Om Krau, Namo Narsimhaya Swaha. Om Shraum Namo Narsimhaya Swaha. Om Shraum Namo Narsimhaya Swaha. We'll do another mantra that was taught by Shiva to Parvati. This is considered the most powerful mantra of Narsimha. Basically removes all evils, including death itself, according to the Shastras. Om Ugram Viram Mahavishnu. Those who know can chant along. Om Ugram Veram Mahavishnu Valantam Sarvato Mukham Yasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityum Namamyaham Swaha. Om Ugram Veram Mahavishnu Valantam Sarvato Mukham Yasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityum Namamyaham Swaha. Om Ugram Veram Mahavishnu Valantam Sarvato Mukham Nrisimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityum Namamyaham Swaha. If you are doing at home and if you have various materials available, for Krishna, Tulsi is a great option. You have dried Tulsi or wet Tulsi, basically fresh Tulsi. Tulsi is a great offering. And for Narsimha, particularly this mantra, sandalwood powder is a great option. We will now, one more Vishnu Avatara, Venkateswara Swami, Balaji. He is nearby. Om Namo Venkateshaya Swaha. 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 Om Namo Venkateshaya. Oh shit. One more. Om Namo Bhagavate Venkateshaya. Valjakshi mantra. In general, Ashtakshi mantras, 8-letter mantras are important for removing anxieties and tension from our system, because 8th house is the house of tensions in astrology and 12th house is the house of moksha in astrology. Valjakshi mantras are useful for moksha, or of course most people today will not get moksha, so it is making progress towards spiritual, making progress towards moksha. Om Namo Bhagavate Venkateshaya Swaha. 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 Om Namo Bhagavate Venkateshaya. Wow, shut. Now we'll do some mantras for Shiva Parivara. Ganapati we already did. We will start with Kartikeya. We'll do a simple, actually we'll do his guide. Oh, those who know can chant. Om Kartikeyaya Vidmahe Shakti Hastaya Dhimahi Tanna Skanda Prachodayat Swaha. One small thing, earlier also in opposition I wanted to mention to somebody. If you are doing Gayatri mantra or some mantra that has like Prachodayat, when you add Swaha, that becomes Anudartha. So it is not Prachodayat, Prachodayat Swaha, not like that. Prachodayat Swaha, that change. Basically, the swara is determined based on the next letter. So this is one tricky thing. When you do Veda mantras or Gayatri mantras, and there is a Dirgha at the end, you basically don't change it to Anudartha. You have to when you add Swaha. That is one. And the other thing is, people pronounce that Prachodayat like that. For example, in Athra our Paschattat, our Purastat, that is incorrect. That is what most people do, including the Veda Pandita. That means absolutely nonsense. The Prachodayat, Paschattat, the K has no prana. Vowel is the prana, life of a Akshara. Just a consonant is like a corpse. It has no prana. You can't even hear it. It is Prachodayat. Paschattat, Purastat. You say Prachodayat, Paschattat, you are adding the letter. By adding a vowel, putting prana in the corpse, you are adding an extra syllable. The chandas is broken, there is no meaning, it is all nonsense. When you are doing Veda mantras, it is important to pronounce correctly. So, my suggestion is don't stick to the standard pronunciation. It is a Kali Yuga corruption. Probably some guru, because if I say Prachodayat, you can't hear whether I am saying Prachodayat or Prachodayat or Prachodayap or Prachodayat, because there is no prana in the last consonant. Probably a guru pronounced Prachodayat, and then Sishyas repeated that, and that became standard. Now almost everybody pronounces it, that is wrong. You are breaking it. Actually, there's no meaning. So, okay, now continue with the Om Kartikeyaya Vidmahe Shakti Hastaya Dhimahi Tanna Skanda Prachodayat Swaha. Om Kartikeyaya Vidmahe Shakti Hastaya Dhimahi Tanna Skanda Prachodayat Swaha. Om Kartikeyaya Vidmahe Shakti Hastaya Dhimahi Tanna Skanda Prachodayat Swaha. We'll do a simple 6-letter mantra. Each of the letter corresponds to his 6 phases. The mantra is simple. Saravana Bhava. So, no Namaha, no Swaha, nothing. Just Saravana Bhava. And then you say Swaha. Om Saravana Bhava Swaha. Om Saravana Bhava Swaha. Om Saravana Bhava. Om Saravana Bhava Swaha. Om Saravana Bhava Swaha. Om Saravana Bhava Swaha. Om Saravana Bhava. Oh, shut. Now we'll do Shiva. Actually, Shiva and Parvati together we'll do 3 mantras. Om Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya. Shiva and Parvati are 2 sides of the same coin. Like Shiva is the cumulative potential energy of the cosmos. Parvati is the cumulative kinetic energy of the cosmos. Potential energy and kinetic energy are being transferred between. Basically, when I hold this here, potential. When I drop it, it turns into kinetic energy. Like the Shiva and Parvati are just two aspects of the same thing. That is why we have the Narishwar. So the mantra is Om Namah Shivaya is Namah Shivaya, but after Om, we'll add three bija. Either Aim or Aim or Thi. We'll do three versions. Aim is the Srishti bija, creation bija. Dream is the Sthiti bija, sustenance bija. Dream is the life bija. It's basically dissolution of this or moksha. Om Aim Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Swaha. 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 Om Aim Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya. Shat. Now second one. Om Hri Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Swaha. 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 One note to organizers: we are coming to the end of this. We should transition to the third phase where people will do their own homas. Will involve some rearrangement. So there are some empty seats. You can remove them. Now we'll be basically sitting on the floor and doing it. And those who have a problem can put a table and chair. They will arrange some of those also. You can do. And anything that you want to arrange on the floor for them to sit, you can put it now. And basically start making all your arrangements. In 10 minutes, we'll switch to that portion. Om Hri Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Swaha. 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 Om. We'll do Hanuman. Simple Hum Hanumate Namah. Om Hum Hanumate Namah Swaha. 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 We won't do now, but you can also do with Hanuman Chalisa. Don't think that you can only use Sanskrit mantra. You can use Hanuman Chalisa or any vernacular language mantra also. As a matter of fact, if you go to my website, apart from the Homa mantras, you will see a manual for fire yoga where we basically provided within the Vedic Homa style a template for anybody to do Homa for any Devata, including non-Hindu Devatas. There are some pagan Devatas or some other religion Devatas. They can basically use the template to do a Homa for those Devatas. So you can use any sacred chants of any religion in any language and just say Swaha at the end. Now, we do for Dattatraya, our Guru Parampara's final Guru. Om Klim Datta Gurave Namah Swaha. Om Klim Datta Gurave Namah Swaha. Om Hrim Tatta 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 Gurave Namah Swaha. We will do one combined for Navagraha. You can do for each Navagraha with their Veda mantra, Pauranic mantra, various mantras. Aditya is Somaya, that we do for all Grahas. Om Adityaya Somaya, Mangalaya Budhaya Cha, Guru Shukra Janishasya, Rahate Ketave Namah Swaha. When you chant this mantra, don't just chant mechanically. Adityaya, when you are saying, think of sun. Somaya, when you are saying, think of moon. Like that you should do. When you chant any mantra, you are thinking of what that mantra is and visualizing those devatas, imagining those devatas. Om Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budhaya Cha Guru Shukra Sannyasya Rahate Ketave Namah Swaha. Om Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budhaya Cha Guru Shukra Sannyasya Rahate Ketave Namah Swaha. Om Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budhaya Cha Guru Shukra Sannyasya Rahate Ketave Namah Swaha. Om Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budhaya Cha Guru Shukra Sannyasya Rahate Ketave Namah Swaha. Om Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budhaya Cha Guru Shukra Sannyasya Rahate Ketave Namah Swaha. And we have mostly used ghee, wood, and copra here. And when you are doing at home, consider using black sesame and white sesame seeds. Those are very auspicious. Apart from copra, ghee, those are simple substances that don't give a lot of smoke. See, we don't have a lot of smoke, even though we use firewood. They burn very nicely, and they are very good for overcoming bad karmas. They are the favorite materials of selling. They are main karaka for putting people through karmic cycle. And particularly Shastras say that black and white both are good. Black is more relevant for physical ailments, etc. And white is more relevant for mental and spiritual purposes. But you can use both. We all need benefit at all. You can combine. You can combine. And one more thing you can do is what I do at home is various kinds of grains like puffed rice, puffed flour, puffed sorghum, and puffed like that. Basically, various grains, and then various nuts like cashews, almonds, walnuts, whatever you want to do, black sesame, white sesame. You can mix all those and put a little bit of. Ideally, dry things are not recommended. Should be wetted with. So basically, you mix a little bit of ghee with that, make a mixture. You can offer a spoon of that mixture to every swaha. So that can be done. And you can use pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, various nut seeds. You can grab. That also ideally you can mix, but it already has some oil inside. So people offer sesame seeds as they are. It's fine. Now one last thing we'll do is they are setting up there, and we'll wrap up now. I want to do the Ashrama. So we'll do. See, if you don't know any mantra of a Devata and you still want to make offering to the Devata, just Nama mantra. Say the name and say you should know the Shashti Vibhakti form. If it is Akaranta Pullinga Sabda Aya, Svikaranta Pullinga Sabda, Ikaranta Pullinga Sabda, then Aye, like that. Haraye, Kurave. You need to know whether it's Aye or Ave or Aya. You need to know those forms. Or Ate. You need to know those forms. But otherwise, you can use the Nama mantra. Use the Nama mantra. Om Medha Dakshinamurtaye Namah Swaha. 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 We'll do for Hayagriva. Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphatikamkritim Adharam Sarva Vijnanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Swaha. Om Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphatikamkritim आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवं उपास्महे स्वाहा ॐ ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे स्वाहा ॐ ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे षट्. Finally, you can do your Gotra Rishi. You know your Rishi. In general, we can make offerings to any Rishi, right? Om Vasisthaya Namah Swaha, Om Swamitraya Namah Swaha, Om Apraye Namah Swaha, Om Bharadwajaya Namah Swaha, Om Jamadagnyaya Namah Swaha. You can make offerings to any Rishi. Particularly, your Gotra Rishi is important because they have a connection, direct connection, genetic connection to the Rishi. So whatever the Rishi represents, whatever attitude that Rishi represents, you have the potentiality of that. So, if you know your Gotra Rishi, unfortunately these days many people, even in India, don't know their Gotra Rishi. Then you can basically take whichever Rishis, teachings, or scriptures, or compositions you are attracted to. But if you know your Gotra Rishi, make an offering, a few offerings, 1 offering or 4 offerings at the end of your Homa before the final offerings. So my Rishi is Gautama, so I will make offerings. Om Gautamaya Namah Swaha. Om Gautamaya Namah Swaha. Om Gautamaya Namah Swaha. Om Gautamaya Namah. Now, not only Rishis, if you are attached, suppose you like Ramana Maharshi, Om Ramana Namah Swaha, Om Ramana Maharshi Namah Swaha, you can make offering. You may think that that person is no longer alive or is not a god, how will he receive it? The thing is, offerings in the fire are going through the soul. Fire is of the nature of soul. So you are trying to connect with that entity at the soul level. And similarly, Tapana is basically at the mind level. What is of the nature of mind? Basically, mind is various hormones, etc. So it is associated with water. So Tapana is working on the mind. Homa is working on the soul of the person. So even if somebody has left Earth, even if they have potentially got moksha, they are no longer taking a birth again. That particular form when they live, all the thoughts that they had, all the actions that they did, those vibrations are lingering in the space, slowly decaying, but nonetheless there. So you are trying to connect with those vibrations. And if you make offering to a guru who's no longer alive, if there is some destiny is such that your offerings may reach and those vibrations may resonate with you, so you can make offerings to various gurus and you will make offerings to Ramakrishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Swaha. That's the Dvasakshina. There are many mantras. This is Dvasakshina. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya Swaha. Om Sarada Ramakrishnaabhyam Namah 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 Swaha. Om Sri Vivekanandaya 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 Namah Swaha. I'll make one more offering to one of Ramakrishna's disciples. See, Ramakrishna said that 100 years later I'll come back. And he told Sarada Mata, you also have to come back. You have no escape. You are also coming back. Everybody is coming back except him, Abhedananda. He said he will get moksha. All of us, including Vivekananda, everybody will come back. What they do, the mission may be different. It may not be the same. And also, the roles they play may be different. Vivekananda may play second fiddle. Now, Yogananda may play a bigger role. You never know, basically. But the bottom line is, Abhedananda is gone. But as I said, if you make offerings to him, even though he got moksha as per Ramakrishna's words, whatever he did, whatever thoughts he had, you can form a connection. So you can make offerings to him. So I just want to demonstrate that. Om Abhedanandaya Namah Swaha. Om. Or we'll add Swami also. Abhedananda Swamine Namah Swaha. Om 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 Vedananda Swami Namah. You may notice that I stopped offering new materials and offering very few materials now. The thing is, you will learn with practice. Towards the end, you have to basically cut down. You can't just keep offering. If I put lot of firewood now, it will burn for a lot of time. You have to, by the time your Purnahati is done, you want fire to withdraw. So you can plan. This Homa is like life journey. Your life journey. In the beginning, you are very passionate. You are doing a lot of activity. So that is like you are offering lot of material and it's running brightly. So you're doing a lot of stuff and you feel good about it. In the end, you have to cut off and your Purnahati, you just surrender to God and just go. That is the purpose of life. So we'll do the final offerings now. Just to sustain the fire, I'll put a few coconuts inside. Fire is about to go. So you have to know basically when to ignore and when to basically feed the fire. You have to understand the nature of fire. And in the end, basically, slowly cut down. And remember that when fire goes, then we'll see a lot of fire is, until now we didn't have a lot of fire. Now fire is, there are some unburned materials inside. That is the meaning of smoke. So okay, we'll do the final offering. What are the final 6 offerings? Om Bhu Agnaye Swaha, Om Bhuva Vayave Swaha, Om Bhuva Suryaya Swaha, Om Bhuvastuva Swaha, Om Vinnave Swaha, Om Namo Rudraya Padpataye Swaha. Or it may be a slightly different version. Om Rudraya Swaha, it says. Om Rudraya Swaha. One tip is after making offerings to either Pitrus or Rudra or Yama, you always wet the tips of your fingers with water. The idea is Rudra, certain devatas basically, they produce a lot of fire inside you. So it may be irrelevant for most of us, but it's good to keep up that practice because it may be relevant to somebody later. Now we'll make the Puna. And for Pashadas, I don't really have anything. I just fix up the so Pashadebhyo Namaha. Pashadebhyo Namaha. Om. Now Purnahati. Dharmaya Namah Swaha. Om Arthaya Namah Swaha. Om Kamaya Namah Swaha. Om Mokshaya Namah Swaha. This is optional. Purnahati. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Purnahati Tamam Juhoti Sarvam Vai Purnahati Sarvam Yavapnoti Apoyam Vai Purnahati Asyameva Pratisthati. So we did multiple devatas. For the Purnahati, you can pick any one mantra or you can pick various mantras. I'll just pick Om Lakshmi Narayanabhyam Namaha, Om Klim Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha, Om Klim Tattaguruve Namaha, Purnahutim Samarpayami. Om. And it's not in the manuals, but one tradition is either before you offer Purnahati or right after you offer Purnahati, you do something called Vasodhana. You basically pour a stream of ghee. The idea is it will all catch fire nicely and sit on nicely. So for that, normally is the third Anuvaka with the Chamakani. What we will do here is we just chant Sri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. Basically, Rama is the keeper of Dharma. We want it Dharma to increase it. Om Sri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. 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 Vasodhana Payami. And there should be one final offering in the manual. Apneya Saptote Swaha. Yeah. So basically, finally, after the complete surrender, after the Purnahati, you thank Agni for facilitating all this. This is like vote of thanks. Om Agnaye Saptavate Swaha. Just one time. Yeah. To the seven-tongued Agni, who basically took my offerings to various devas. And now, as I said, you can meditate. And while the setup is complete, we won't meditate till the fire goes. Normally, it's ideal to meditate till the fire hours. But here we'll just meditate for 5 minutes, and then I want to do, while this fire is going on, you can start your own fire. So we'll just meditate for a couple of minutes. Actually, what I want to do is, we didn't do Satnam. Okay, we'll all meditate with one simple mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Satyadevaya. This is the mantra of Satyanarayana Swami. I want all of us to meditate with the same song. Is it possible to turn off the lights? If it is, please turn off the lights for a couple of minutes. We'll all chant with the same voice a few times, and then we'll meditate with silently for a few times. Om Namo Bhagavate Satyadevaya. You can start. You can open eyes. Look at the fire for a couple of seconds, then close and again meditate. Om Namo Bhagavate Satyadevaya. 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 Now silently, same speed meditate. Now we stop here. Please turn on the lights and everybody remove the chairs, put them back there, sit on the ground. And there are some chairs set up there with tables for those who don't want to sit on the floor, who can't sit on the floor. It is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. And we'll pivot to doing your own homa. I am Muhurta Sumbhutostu. Sit down. And those who brought your own homa material, set them up in front of you. Make sure that you can take everything that is here.
Yeah.
Outside, outdoor.
Because you have to ఈశాన్యంలో కానీ ఆగ్నేయంలో కానీ కొంచెం చేయమన్నారు. బయట అయితే మన బ్యాక్ సైడ్
Please find a place for yourself. It's all first come, first serve. You can pick a place that you like. It is unoccupied. And they are setting up the rows with some caps so that.
Yes. There are two spoons, those who got one steel spoon and one plastic spoon. Steel spoon you can use for tea. Tea is the plastic spoon you can use for water. Cup is for water and a bowl will be given that for tea. So both water and tea will be given.
Yeah, those who got your own setup, please set up. And those who ask for setup from the organizer, collect a paper bag with your name on it. If you haven't already done it, if you have, set it up in front of you. There is no ghee or water. As Hari said, they will supply water and ghee. They will come and provide it to you shortly. Keep the handout handy. Keep it in front of you. Those who are getting set up from the organizers, you are getting a small bowl, that is your Homakunda, and like he said, the 2 spoons, use one for ghee, the steel spoon, and the plastic spoon used for water for Ashrama. And a paper bowl he will be provided shortly. Actually, we don't need it for the first Homa, you need it for the second and third Homa. As I said, for those who joined late, perhaps missed the initial portion, we'll do 3 Homas. The first one is a pretend Homa. It is not a real Homa. You pretend that you are doing a Homa. We'll go through the procedure the same way. I will chant. You follow along, you chant along, and you pretend to do Homa. No real fight. And the second one is coordinated Homa. I'll be chanting. You chant along and do a real Homa. Third one is you are on your own. Independent Homa. The goal is after the 3, when you go home, you should have confidence to do it by yourself. And after a few times, you won't need the handout. You can just do it directly. But first few times, keep the handout with you. Make sure that because you are doing 2 real Homa, the material you have, use half for the first Homa, half for the second. And we'll do less count for the first Homa so that more is left for the second Homa. Second Homa, you can do your heart's content. Of course, not 2-3 hours because we need to wrap up, but you can do more times. And if you got the materials from the organizers, there should be 2, apart from coconut slices, which you can use for both the Homas, there should be 2 coconut pieces, big pieces, and those are for Purna. One for the first Homa, second for the second. Okay, if you got fruits, I suggest don't put in the Homa because it won't burn. You basically put what you can offer anything in the fire. You can offer really big fruits also, but the fire should be commensurate with the material that you are trying to burn. Ideally, whatever you offer in the Homa should burn perfectly. So if you got an apple or banana, I suggest don't put them here. But if you are doing at home, I use firewood and use a lot of copra, so I do with this much for taking fire. So I can put anything and it will burn. So here, please don't do that. And if you brought fruit, when it is time to offer Naivedya, just show it to the fire. Imagine that God has consumed it and take it home and you can eat it as prasad. And you can share it with them. In general, put only things that you know will burn in the fire. In general, cashews, almonds, raisins, sesame seeds, and other seeds are fine. And please, ghee, don't pour so much that there is a puddle of ghee at the bottom of the Homa. Just drop by drop. So when you do at home, you can do with more materials, more elaborately. Here we are doing with minimal setup. So make sure that everybody has camphor. If you don't ask the organizers, they are distributing camphor, matchbox. Matchbox, I think people may have to shave, but matchbox, camphor. And in the beginning, what I suggest is at the base of your Homakunda, put a few coconut slices and put a camphor in between them. And when we do the second Homa, a real Homa, we can basically use the matchstick to light it. And when the fire is about to go, make sure that you are putting another piece so that catches fire, so that there is continuity of fire.
White blocks here is the firewood. It is not really small.
Yeah, this is firewood. See, the thing is, if the firewood is really dry, it depends on whether it's hardwood or softwood. Different kinds of wood, which has a different behavior, oak has a different behavior. You can experiment at home. I don't know actually. I didn't buy it. Yeah, this did not give a lot of. One more thing is, if you use firewood at home, instead of using big logs, if you buy a wood log or wood log splitter or something, make this size. It will burn better. The thing is, if it is this side, outside will burn and it will become ash, and inside is not catching fire, so you will get some smoke. If it is this side, this thick, the chance is that it will not give a lot of smoke. Yeah, you can use Homakunda beside the Homakunda at home, and you can also, if you want to do one in a slightly bigger Homakunda, you can go to S3 Gosala's website and they sell Agnihotra kit, and Homakunda will be there. But that is a really big one, and you can find this size Homakundas like 2 inch by 2 inch, 3 inch by 3 inch online. Search for Homakunda. These days, everything can be bought online. But this bowl is perfectly sufficient. If you are happy with a small fire, you can use this bowl going forward. Everybody ready? Okay, we'll start. This is pretend Homa or mock Homa. So chant everything and pretend to do, but no real fire. Just do like this. Touch the ground in front of you and pray to Mother Earth. Thank Mother Earth for bearing your role. And think of Ganapati in your heart. Now do Achamanam. Om Kesavaya Swaha. First, actually, put a spoonful of water and wash your hand. And then second one, Om Kesavaya Swaha. Om Kesavaya Swaha. Drink water. Om Narayanaya Swaha. Om Madhavaya Swaha. This is pretend, so you don't necessarily have to drink, but that's fine. Now take some water in your right palm and say this. So actually pranayama we didn't do, right? Pranayama. Do pranayama. We did not do a lamp, but there is one lamp here. You can just look at that lamp. Look at the fire, or look at this fire, and then pranayama, and then sankalpa. Take some water in your right palm and say this along with Buloke Dharma Apanartham Sarvesham Jananam Sukha Shanti Siddhartham Ganapati Homa Karma Yathashakti Karishye. Some South Indians pronounce it as Yathashakti. It's not Yathashakti, but Yathashakti Karishye. Okay. Now drop the water in front of you, between you and Homa. Now pretend that you are lighting the fire. Don't light fire. Om Bhurbhuvasvarom. Now 8 drops of ghee. Om Bhurbhuvasvasvaha. Pretend, no real ghee. Om Bhurbhuvasvasvaha. 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 Now the initial offering. Again pretend. Om Prajapataye. You also say Om Prajapataye Swaha. Om Indraya Swaha. Om Agnaye Swaha. Om Somaya Swaha. Om Bhurbhuvasva Swaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah Swaha. Om Vam Varunaya Namah Swaha. Now think that Ganapati is coming into the fight. Atra Aga, you can also read it. Atra Agacha Avahito Bhava. Now imagine that you are offering a drop of ghee. For all the, unless you brought sandalwood, etc., which you can offer, just put a drop of ghee for each of you. Om Lam Prithviatmane Namaha. Om Ham Akashatmane Namaha. Om Yam Vayuatmane Namaha. Om Ram Agnyatmane Namaha. Om Vam Jalatmane Namaha. Now we'll do Om Gam Ganapataye Namah Swaha. 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 Vaushad. We'll just do that, but when we do the real Homa next, we'll also do the second mantra. Om Srim Hrim Klim a few times. And when you do on your own, you do whatever you want. Now final offering. Om Bhu Agnaye Swaha. Om Bhuvah Vayave Swaha. Om Subah Suryaya Swaha. Om Bhuvasva Swaha. Om Vishnave Swaha. Om Rudraya Swaha. Take a little bit of water with a spoon, put it on the tips of your right hand. Now, some material, whatever material you have, raisins or some coconut, one coconut slice, put it on your right hand side, this corner of the Homa, in the southwest direction, just outside the Homa. Say Om Parshadebhyo Namaha. That's it. Now Punahuti. Om. Now imagine that you are taking that coconut piece. Don't do that. Put it in the fire. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah Swaha. Now drop of Om Agnaye Saptavate Swaha. That's it. Then meditation. So this is the pretend Homa. Now we'll do the real Homa. Everybody is ready, right? Everybody has ghee, water, Purnahuti coconut, and coconut slices. The two Purnahuti coconut pieces, keep one for the second Homa. So make sure that you are only using half of the stuff now, half of that. Okay, ready? Touch Mother Earth and be grateful to Mother Earth. Thank Mother Earth. Think of Ganapati in your mind. Put a little bit of water, wash your hand. And one more time, now Om, you all say Om Kesavaya Swaha. Om Narayanaya Swaha. Om Madhavaya Swaha. Now look at this lamp. Look at the light. Now do pranayama, real pranayama. you are done, everybody will wait till everybody is done, and then we'll do Sankalpa. Everybody is done. Oh, sorry. Okay, now everybody is done. Take a little bit of water in your right palm. Put it in front of your heart. And say this. All of you say along with me. You can read from the handout and read along with me. Bhuloke dharma sthapanartham sarvesham jananam sukha shanti siddhartham Ganapati Homa Karma Shakti Karishye. Leave the water in front of you, between you and Homakunda, or in the Homakunda. Now, hopefully everybody has coconut slices with camphor. Now the tricky part starts. If the fire withdraws, fire is not catching. Basically, don't be worried. Basically, feel free to light again with the matchstick. Put another camphor piece, light it again. Now start Om Bhur Bhuvas Suvarom. Everybody light. Say Bhur Bhuvas Suvarom. You can light directly with matchstick. Light with an incense stick if you have. And if you don't have a matchbox, raise your hand. Somebody will provide you. Bhur Bhuvas Suvarom. And then when you offer drops of ghee, don't put it directly on the fire, around the fire, so that the coconut slices are wet and they will catch fire. Om Bhur, now 8 drops, okay? Om Bhur Bhuvassuva Swaha. 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 Done. Now 7 offerings. Oh, again ghee only. Om Prajapataye Swaha. And if the fire is going away, feel free to put another coconut slice to sustain it outside of the mantra. Make sure that you are sustaining the fire. Om Prajapataye Swaha. Om Indraya Swaha. Om Agnaye Swaha. Om Somaya Swaha. Om Bhur-Bhuvassuva Swaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namah Swaha. Om Vam Varunaya Namah Swaha. Now, show your hands to fire and invite Ganapati into it. Imagine that he is coming. Atra Agacha Avahito Bhava means come here, be well established. Om Lam Prithviatmane Namaha. Put a drop of ghee. Or if you have sandalwood powder, you brought your own, you can offer that. Om Lam Prithviatmane Namaha. Sandalwood powder or ghee. Om Ham Akashatmane Namaha. Flower or flower petals or ghee. Om Yam Vaivatmane Namaha. Incense stick or ghee. Om Ram Agnyatmane Namaha. Put ghee. Om Vam Jalatmane Namaha. Anything you can offer as Naivedyam or just put ghee. Now, we'll use the second mantra, Om Shrim Hrim Klim mantra. You can read from the manual. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanamme Vasimanaya Swaha. Om Shrim Hrim Klim Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा ॐ श्रीं ह्रीं क्लीं ग्लौं गं गणपतये वरवरद सर्वजनं मे वशमानय स्वाहा Om Shri. You can offer coconut slices or any material, not that tea. Om Shri Hrim Klim Graum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha Om Shri Hrim Klim Graum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha Om Shri Hrim Klim Graum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha. Last time. Om Shri Hrim Klim Graum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha. Oh, shut. Now last final offerings. Only he now. Om Agnaye Swaha Om Bhuva Vayave Swaha Om Suvah Suryaya Swaha Om Bhuva Suva Swaha Om Sri Vishnave Swaha Om Rudraya Swaha. Water on the tip of finger after Rudraya Swaha. Now continue. Take some material, coconut slices or some material, edible material, put it in the southwest corner, basically your right hand side closer to you, that corner of the Hamkuta. Om Parshadebhyo Namaha. Yeah. Put it outside of the Hamkuta. Okay. Now Punah. The mantra we use the same mantra for Punah. Take a coconut piece, one of the two pieces, put it on your head or in front of your heart. Om Shreem Hreem Kleem Glaum Gam Ganapataye Varavarada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha. You put it in the fire. See, if you did multiple mantras, you can do one of them in the Punahuti. And even if you did Om Shreem Hreem Kleem as the main mantra, you could have done Punahuti with Om Gam Ganapataye. It is also fine. But I chose to do the same mantra. What is the final offering? Om Agnaye Saptavate Swaha. Only Ksheet. Done. Now, normally we can meditate, but what we will do is we'll do the third Homa also and then we can meditate. So now I won't read. You have the handout. You repeat this procedure by yourself and you can pick any of the three mantras given here or anything else like Shuklam Pradhanam Vishnu, Sloka and then Swaha. You do that. We'll do like 15 minutes. I'll give you 15 minutes. You do. See, what you may have seen is this can be done in 5-10 minutes. You do minimum count and just one more. It's not really that complicated. Now you are on your own. All the best. Those who are done, you can pack your stuff, but leave the home control because it may still be hot. There is fire, or even if fire has withdrawn, just leave it for a while. So after eating, you can basically, if the home kunda has cooled down, then you can pack. So you can pack the rest of the stuff. And one small tip when you're doing at home, you should, if you suppose you're doing outdoors, and don't never leave the home kunda with fire unsupervised because it can cause a fire hazard. If you have to leave, if you do homa outside and you have to leave, what you can do is you can cover it with an aluminum foil tightly, but poke a couple of holes in it. One for oxygen to go in, one for carbon dioxide to come out. Two holes. Otherwise, the fire inside will suffocate because you may think that there is no smoke here, right? This is done, but inside there will be still embers consuming the material. So put an aluminum foil, put two holes, and then it's safe. There won't be any fire hazard. The fire will keep consuming the materials. And I hope that you enjoyed the experience, and I hope that some of you will take it up on a regular basis, either daily or weekly or monthly, whatever is comfortable for you, whatever is feasible for you. Even though this is a nitya karma, doing it every week is better than not doing it at all. So if you can do daily, great. But, and as you saw, this can be done in 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. So try to incorporate this into your life. And also, if you can do a reasonably large fire, sit in front of that fire and meditate. You will find that meditating in front of fire is a nice experience. So again, thank you very much for braving the weather and attending it. Thank you very much, everyone. You feed it to animals, so you can just take it and put it outside. Some animal will eat it. And if nobody eats, I think bacteria and virus will eat it. So just leave it to others. Yeah. If you basically have to put off the fire, some people recommend pouring milk instead of water. The thing is really, ritual fire should never be put off forcefully. It is not a good karma. Even what they do at some temples, the lamps that they light, they basically forcibly extinguish them. That's not good karma. This is not recommended. So I suggest not doing it. And if it is unavoidable, basically you can do that. But best is, this is why I told you at the end before Purnahati, don't keep offering a lot of materials so that fire is small and Purnahati just burns like this basically. Purnahati burns and collapses and it's all done. So plan going forward. Okay, thank you very much. I will end the live stream. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu Yavat Bhumandale Sanatana Dharmo Bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.